How's it going, dude?
Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab your crucifix. 7, 8, gonna stay up late. 9, 10.
Did you get my text message?
Yeah, it's exactly what I did not want.
What do you mean?
That was for you. You were gonna guide it. Why are you giving me that? What did I
wanted to.
What did I say?
I wanted to see what you thought of it and just hey, this is good.
No,
this is good format or whatever.
No, I didn't. I told Mark. How did it seem?
I didn't say you said it. I'm telling you what my thinking was. I wanted to see what you thought. Just show it to you. Is this kind of what you want? That kind of thing. That's what I was asking.
Ooh.
All right, I'm.
Damn.
Okay.
I'm a piece of shit.
That's how he tries to get out of shit.
Anything. That was the motive in doing it. I sent it because I wanted to see. I've never made a format for these before, so you said make four. Okay, so here's the format. What do you think? What do you want me to change? Do you like this? That's all it was. What are you mad at me for? It's like I don't.
Do I sound mad?
No, it's like everything I do, y'all get mad at me about it. It's like, fuck, dude.
Hey,
well,
Mark.
just do something right.
Alright, I'm a piece of shit. I'll fucking blow you. I'll blow you till your nuts 16 times down my ass. What the crazy shit that fucking Chris says. Oh my god, Christopher J, you're fucking hilarious, dude. Now I'm just,
He's getting
like
angrier every day. He gets angrier every day that it gets closer to Sunday, dude.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's strange.
Chris, I mean, yeah, I guess we're gonna find out, right, Chris? I guess we're gonna fucking find out.
I mean, ultimately the point is just so we have a way to guide the conversation from one thing to another, right?
Well, that's what you were gonna do. You were gonna say, and then happens here next is they have the group meeting. That's it.
And that's what I did.
No, you half-ass acted. You got 7 acts. Only 7 acts in Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Is that what you're fucking telling me?
We're gonna elaborate. No, we're gonna elaborate on things, but I'm saying let's just keep. This is kind of a summary, like these are key events and what happens around these key events. That's what I was thinking.
Well,
so.
I know what happens around those key events. I just need to know what scene comes next. That was the whole thing I had said. I was like, okay, like. Nancy or what's her name? Freddy chases Kirsten, and then so like I know what happens after that. She's in the hospital. I don't need to know, Freddy chases Kirsten down a dark corridor. She makes a left and runs into... I don't need to know. I already know.
That's not what I did. That's
Okay.
not what I did.
Okay. Arcade
I was
God.
I said she made it right, Joe. You said
I
that
did.
wrong. She made it right. not left.
These are not even a paragraph each time. It's just a basic guided discussion. So, I mean, if you don't like it, then I mean, I don't have to do these summaries. Then if you don't want me doing them.
I already knew that, Jason. You sound like Jason. Now, what? Remember when Jason said, I do this because you want me to do it, Joey. I do this. I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. This is where he does the heel turn.
It's not a heel turn. It's like I got asked to do something, I did it, and then I don't get any feedback. It's like
You don't get any feedback. You get feedback, and then you blow up and you go get a new job. That's what you do. That's what you do.
Anyway, I'm just gonna keep it to my. I'm just gonna make these and keep it to myself from now on because everything I do, everyone's gonna hate. You know, so it's like.
That's what I asked.
I
was
agree
like,
with Chris. It's not a heel turn.
it's not
It's not a heel turn. He's a heel the whole time, dude. It's not a heel turn.
I was just saying, hey, because it's a. We have to guide us through because I know about the movie. I just forget what happens in what sequence. That's when you have to. So that's all it is. So hey, after this, so well, it's okay. I'll do things.
So then
I'll do things myself.
So from now on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these kind of things, and I will be helping guide the conversation based on how I organize it. Deal?
That's all I asked for. What the fuck did you think I asked for?
But I just thought I would run it by you and say, okay, do you kind of like this? What would you change? What would you do different? What do you like? What do you not like? That's kind of how I think.
It was too detailed. I know what happens. I just need to know in what order the things happen. I don't need to say, like I said, it was just like, okay. Welcome to Master of the Universe, everyone, where we trash everybody. We got Mark online. Hey, Mark, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing all right, dude. I'm snacking on a couple of oatmeal raisin cookies from H-E-B from the grocery store.
Dude, those are the shit, dude. Those are the shit. I had one the other day. They were actually giving. That's when I was telling you, or Lorena was trashing me, saying that he was having cookies or he had the snacks over there at H-E-B. Yeah, they're giving them out, and I was like, oh my god, they're fucking amazing. Yeah.
That's why I grabbed some, dude, because I had a little sample and I was like,
See, Chris?
I was like, dude, it's Sunday, dude. Fuck it.
That's exactly why I had it, dude. She was over here trashing me. You had cookies and they were giving that out, and like I don't like oatmeal raisin, but I had those, and I was like, God dang, that's some bitch over though.
Nope. They have to be double chocolate, 3-inch thick cookies. I'm not gonna eat them then.
Damn right.
I'm not gonna eat them then. It's like you won't eat plain cheesecake, Chris?
Nope.
Why not?
Just too plain.
Hey, Mark, do you like plain cheesecake?
I love it, dude.
Right? I love plain
cheesecake. You actually taste the cheese, the cream in it, dude.
The only thing
Yeah.
The only thing that I like on my cheesecake, if I do, and it's not even all the time, I like the little bit of that strawberry they put on, not the what is it called, strawberry gimmick shit or whatever. I like a little bit of that, but I like plain cheesecake, like it gets over with me. And Mark it was a while back, like 3 years ago, right? And we had this sampler platter, and and you want to tell the story, Mark?
I'm probably gonna say it wrong, and then Chris is gonna correct me, dude. But
I barely even remember this myself.
The guy that
I know there was a sampler pattern. I know that it was when you lived at that house by Ingram. I know that.
Just let everyone know.
I don't remember the specifics.
Just let everyone know where Mark used to live, dude. No big deal.
Yeah. So we had the sampler platter, and then I guess had we gone through them already, or most of them, or something, or?
Chris was
picking and choosing, and
Chris wasn't there yet, and I think a few were missing, and that's what it was. A few were already missing, so there was probably like 7 slices or 8 slices left or something like that out of the 12 or something like that. Because we had all each kind of gotten, or you and me had at least gotten some, and whoever else was there, and then Chris hadn't showed up, and you're like, watch.
He's gonna say that he can't have the plain ones.
Yeah.
So I told him, these 2 are for me, and these 2 are for so and so. He was like, no.
Yeah.
I want one of those.
Yeah.
I have to have one of those. I'm not eating the plain one.
Yeah, he was pissed.
I'm not gonna get cheated. It's a Sunday, dude.
And he was angry too. He's like, no, you're just doing this. No, you're just doing this because you know this is what I like, and you're just doing it. Oh my God, I couldn't believe.
Like I would do some shit.
Yeah.
Like I would do something like that, right?
And I'm like, why do you hate the like? If it would have been me, I'd be like, okay, cool. I love plain cheesecake. You know, I really don't like the overindulging ones because I know there's like it's like the chocolate and cheesecake combined, and they have like white chocolate dots. I'm not into that. You know, one thing I do like that I had tried recently. It was like just plain cheesecake, but it had blueberry sauce on top. Like again, that whatever you call it, it wasn't actual like all overdone. It was just a little bit of blueberry, and it was pretty good. But yeah, plain cheesecake's the way to go. But Chris, you know, no matter what it is, and Mark's always said it. Was it on the last podcast or was it just on the chat when we were talking about how over Chris's sandwiches are?
I think it's on every chat, every podcast.
Proud of it too. Damn proud of it.
It might have been on the last podcast, but I'll just tell the folks anyways. Chris always microwaves his food, and like I'm not like saying like that's stupid. No, I microwave my food. But I'm saying like, but he always microwaves it. Like no matter what kind of food it is, you know, he just throws it in the microwave and it's okay. But and then like we had made something. I forgot what it was, but Chris, he put like every damn condiment, every fucking gimmick he can find. He put it in this sandwich, and me and Mark were joking. We're like, yeah, Chris, you know, we had a. It was already sausage, chicken, bacon, jalapeno, onion, and I think like shrimp or something. I don't know. And it was just like a good, like a 3-meat combo, and we had a mix. So he puts that in his sandwich, and then he ends up putting like I'm just throwing it out there, Chris. It's not 100% correct before you trash me, but he had put in some kind of like. Not Thousand Island, but it was like it might have been campfire sauce. And the joke was, put the campfire sauce, some ranch, some ketchup, some mustard, some mayonnaise, throw some chips in there, crunch it all together, you know, deep fry it. Throw it on the grill. And then Mark goes, and then put it in the microwave.
Yep.
So the bun can get all soggy, dude. So the bun can get all soggy.
Works for me.
But your sandwich somehow defies the laws of physics, right? It doesn't get soggy, right? Just yours. Nope. Everybody else that puts bread in the microwave, they get their bread gets a little soggy, but yours stays perfect, right? It just gets warm.
That's their problem.
Like you put it in the oven, like they put it in the oven, right?
That's their problem.
That's their problem, Mark, not his.
No, they just don't put it in the microwave.
I know a lot of people put bread in the microwave. Anyway. No, you had I remember what it was. You had some kind of like, I don't remember what it was called, but it was some kind of like special sandwich spread, like squeezable sauce or something.
Mm.
It looked kind of like a mixture of like Thousand Island or like the McDonald's Big Mac special sauce or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
So you didn't even know what it was. You just fuck it, let me just fill it with something. That's the fucking point here. That it can't just be let me taste the meat and the ingredients that were cooked with it. No, I gotta slather it and saute it and baste it and all that shit with all this extra stuff. That's what you're saying, right?
Oh well.
So he's saying that your food sucks, bro. That's what he's saying.
I know.
Just don't even put anything on it. Just cook the meat, just brown the meat, and then have him put his own. The hell is that?
It sounds like Chris's fucking internet, dude.
What's
that
what?
Noise, Chris?
Doing what's
that
what?
Buzzing.
I'm moving a glass around on the desk.
No. It's like buzzing.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not doing anything.
There it goes.
You don't hear that, Chris?
Nope. Nope.
Hello.
See, now it stopped as soon as we called you out, Chris.
He was doing something.
I'm not doing anything. I'm right here.
We know where you're at, Chris.
I believe that. Dude. I believe you're not doing anything.
So you ready to laugh real quick, Mark, before we take our first break? So the funniest thing here is, what did I tell you that how Chris wrote those like little guiding points throughout this, you know, from like to go to scene from to scene, you know? So I said, you know, jokingly, I didn't even go through it because I just saw how long they were already, but I didn't read any of it. I go, Kirsten has nightmare, walks down dark corridor, makes a left, runs into bodies, and like I'd say, he like, no, I didn't. Are you ready to hear the first one to get you over? Check this out.
Go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
Kirsten in her bedroom at 1:20 a.m. making a popsicle stick model of Nancy Thompson adolescent house. and goes into a nightmare, gets slit on wrist at sink. I'm like, all right.
The point of that isn't that I'm going to read that out loud on this. The point of that is so it kind of jogs your memory, so you go, yeah.
Why the 120? Why the 120 though?
Because you remember her mom got home with that dude at 1:20, and it was like 1:23 a.m. They even said it. The mom said it out loud, and then she goes in. Now it's 1:23 a.m. Get in bed already. And then the guy she brought home from wherever the occasion or the function or the bar or whatever it was is all, "Hey Elaine, where's the
bourbon?"
Yeah, that's bourbon. That's right.
See, you didn't have to put Elaine. Comes home. Guy asks, "Where's bourbon?" No, it's just Kirsten has nightmare about Freddy, wakes up, slits wrist.
Well, no, but those are the
mental hospital.
I put the key events that were in that larger frame,
okay.
And that will, by talking about it out loud, you'll remember other things about it. But I just put that just to be enough to jog everyone's memory sufficiently, but then you'll still also remember other things in that time.
You got it, Joe. You got it.
Yeah. Chris sounds like he's using that piece of shit card tonight already, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get why y'all are mad about that. Like, seriously, that's like, it's just to help jog memory. It's like, why would you, that's like, I mean, you're making a big deal about it.
It is sure enough.
Did you do anything today, or was it a Sunday? Didn't you just relaxed?
Oh no, dude, I was working, dude.
Or he sent us the video of his.
Remember that video that Nick doesn't have a door to? Joe? Remember that door that Nick wishes he had, even though he's rich?
Mm-hmm.
That one.
Yeah.
And it has that weird looking light fixture.
Chris, it's your microphone that's making that noise. I just heard it.
I know it is.
I'm not doing anything.
Okay. I know you think you're not doing anything, but your mic is making a noise. That's what I'm telling you.
It's going like
boo. It's doing that.
You get electrocuted.
Yeah, you can hear it.
There's a vibrator going
on. And then I know it was you because I just heard you go like with something, and it goes. Boom. So you are doing something, even though you think you're God, and this because you tell me you're not doing nothing. That everyone has to believe that you're not. But I can hear you. I can hear you what you're doing. I can hear it because when you do it, it reverberates off the microphone. And I can hear it because I'm wearing a headset.
Let me ask you if you hear this.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah.
So is that what you're hearing? What you were hearing before?
No.
No, I don't know what I was hearing
like
before.
A buzzing.
But every time you're doing
like
that,
a vibrator.
Boom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's probably got one there. I'm wearing a headset, Chris.
It sounds like a vibrator going up.
Yeah. Are you wearing a headset, Chris, or no?
I am.
Okay, so you can hear clearly, right? Are you wearing headphones or a headset?
I'm wearing the things I bought from Kenny Bolin. I don't know what you would call them.
Do they cover your ear completely?
They do.
Okay, so you can hear if I'm doing like.
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay, so exactly, I can, and I'm not even doing anything, hardly making any sound, but because I have a good microphone, you could hear, or a good headset, I can hear it. But anyway, the point is, I can hear you doing shit, and every time you do, I hear boom. So I can hear the reverberation of your mic. Whether you think we're just fucking with you, I'm telling you, I can hear that. See now
Why
that
you're mad, Joe.
You're like now
mad.
Now he's not doing anything, and it's like I don't hear. It's perfect. So I'm just saying, he's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. But like now it's like it's perfect because he's like trying his best not to move, dude. So anyway, see now I can hear that. I heard that. Now I can hear everything, Chris. You're doing something. You're doing something.
No, you know what? You know what I heard, and I felt this actually like on my feet. Like the neighbors down from me are really loud. Like they're always no, they are. They're always doing shit. I feel the vibration on the wall in this room, so that might be it. Because they slam doors. I'm serious. I'm fucking serious. I've complained to the lease office about this. Now I really sound like Jason, right? Complaining to the lease office. But no, they slam doors. They throw stuff. It sounds like people are like wrestling down there and shit. And it's not the people right below me. It's the people unit below me and to the right as I'm sitting here.
So with your microphone, that small microphone, we're hearing the fucking neighbors.
Well, I can feel the wall and the floor vibrate. I've just kind of tuned it out, but what are you gonna do? I'll hit mute when I'm not talking. How about that? Deal?
No, because that's the worst thing. Because you're the one. Sorry guys, forgot I was on mute.
Okay, well then,
you got
me, and then I'll get off mute. That's what's happening, though. And yeah, I am kind of messing with my phone a little bit in here.
I thought you weren't doing anything.
Well, what's that going to do?
You know he has to have his phone in his hand.
What's having my phone? See, I just felt it again. The neighbors slammed something again. I felt
we
like
didn't hear that.
Huh?
I didn't hear any of that.
Well, I felt it on my feet.
Anything.
They are doing that all the freaking time.
Why don't you go down there and tell them, hey, why don't y'all be a little quiet, or else there's gonna be trouble.
Yeah, Chris, what was that trouble you were talking about the other day that the manager was in?
Anyway, I'll put my phone on the nightstand. But anyway, y'all want to get on with the podcast here, scene one?
Mine's in the kitchen. Mine's in the kitchen charging.
Okay.
Don't
You're
worry.
God.
You're
Yeah,
God.
you know, I always like to start off the podcast. Everyone knows we're going to talk about Nightmare 3. But, of course, we have to talk about news of the day, and I'll start off with mine. I already told y'all earlier about it on the chat, but, you know, it's for those people that want to get over and have a quick giggle.
Quickie.
Yeah, quickie, a good old 2 minute. I wrap it up. I'm not like Chris, going to prolong his stupid story. But, so, you know, me and the wife we're at the mall, and we're walking around downtown here, and we get stopped, and my dumb ass, I'm like, I kind of like zone out, so I really don't pay attention. I don't overthink it unless I don't like you. So then at that point, I'll try and break down what you're trying to do. But here I'm just in the mall, and the guy goes, hey, sir, did you need a map? And I did, because I was trying to look for, I forgot exactly what I was trying to look for. Oh, we're looking for the food court. Now, 'cause I never go downtown. And I'm like, where's the food court? I wanted to pick up a snack, just something small, right? And he's like, oh, and I asked him, I was like, yeah, you know where the food court's at? And he's like, yeah, you're right here, and you're going down here. And he's like, what brings you to the mall today? And I'm just like, just wanted to walk around, right? And I'm all being goaded into just talking to this guy, spilling everything. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, do you know about the Ripley's Believe It or Not tours? And I'm just like, yeah. He's like, well, we're having a special today. He's like, you have all 3 attractions for you and your wife for just $20 each. And I'm like, that's pretty good, you know, because usually, from what I remember, I don't know for sure, when you buy like more than one, they're like 30 each, so it would be $60 just for one, you know, for both of us to go to one. And he's like, he's like, we're giving him this thing out as a promotion, and like I have no idea what's going on, you know. He's like, we're giving you both of these for all 3 attractions, and we give you a $75 gift card to eat anywhere you want, and he's all like, would you like to do that? I was like, for 20 each? I was like, you're going to give me $75 and I give you 20, right? You know, 20 each, 40. So I make 35 and I get I'm like, okay, that's pretty good, you know? And I tell, you know, my wife, I'm like, hey, go talk to this guy and find out if it's like bullshit or not. You know, why I go, you know, because I'm not going to sit there and like, you know, dissect it. And then she's like, yeah, we'll take it. You know, she comes back and she's like, oh, they're doing, you know, because they said all you have to do is just go on this quick tour. It's only going to be for like 60 minutes. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then she comes back and she tells me, oh, it's for a timeshare. I'm like, oh, fuck that. Like, I don't want to hear that because, like, you know, I hate, like, people asking you questions about stuff that you fucking don't, you have no interest in purchasing. Like I don't want to buy anything, so that's it. You know, you're not going to convince me, right? And anyway.
How do you know you don't want it?
Because I don't got the money. What the fuck? That's why I don't want it. I got the money.
Doesn't matter. You're going to let something like money get in the way, dude? Is that what you're telling me?
Yep, if I don't got it, you know.
I never do that. I never do that, dude.
Chris, you want to answer for me?
Oh, you're rich.
Yeah. That's it. That's it.
Okay. Hold on, wait. I need to adjust the bag of money I got on my back here because I'm laying down and it's getting in my way. You know?
I gotta adjust the bag of money on my back. So, you know, after all that, I'm like pissed off, and I'm like, fuck that. I'm like, she's like, you didn't know? And I'm like, why didn't you say anything? And she's like, well, I thought you knew. And she's like laughing at me. I'm like, you need to go over there and just tell them to give me my $40 back while because I'm pissed off. I'm gonna fucking start yelling. And she goes and she's like, no, we have to wait till the tour person comes and they'll take us to there. I'm like, oh god, now wasting more time because I was like, I'm just here at the mall. I want to walk around. Maybe I sound like Chris. Maybe pick up some ice cream or some candy there. You know, just like a little snacks. You know, ruining my time at yeah. Yeah, because there's like a badass like little candy. Yeah, have you been to the downtown River Center? Is it River Center Mall, Chris?
River Center Mall.
They have like they have. Yeah, it does, but I just wanted to go down there because I go to Ingram's worse. Yeah. So I I was like, I wanted to go visit like the candy shop and just get 1 or 2 different candies, just like a little sample bullshit. And anyway, so now we have to wait for this fucking lady. So we're waiting for like 20 minutes, and then we get there, and we gotta go walk like a good, like half a football field for our football field guys that like to, rate everything with football measurements. And so we get there, and I'm like, fuck, it's cold. I'm waiting, and the lady's like, okay, well, we'll give you, your $40 back, and you get the 75, and you get a free night on us. Can you take the tour now? And I'm like, you're gonna give me my 40 back? I can still do the 75. And she was like, and if you don't like it, you just wave this up, and once you're 60 or 90 minutes up, whatever it was, then you can go. There's no pressure. And I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. And we get there, and it's a bunch of bull. Yeah, I didn't want to do it, but I'm like, fuck it, right? So we go, and at the end of it, I'm the only one that's working right now, but and to qualify for it, you have to make a certain amount of money, which was a little bit higher, obviously, because they want, well, for what I'm going to get to, they run the credit. Me and my wife, the credit's not too good anymore, dude. Money's getting tight, and the guy runs it like at the end of this bullshit, and he's like, whoa, do y'all have a lock on your credit or something? And I'm like, let's just say, And he's like, okay, well, if you'd like to do this, it'll require a $8,000 down payment. And I was like, do y'all take cash, dude? I'm like, I ain't got that kind of money fucking to just hand over, dude, because I want to go on vacation, a few times out of the year. That's why I'm fucking just walking around the mall, dude, because it's free, And he was like, all right, well, let me talk to my boss real quick, see if we can just get the tour and get you y'all's gifts. And then he comes back, all right, we're just going to get you the gifts. He was like, we ain't even going to waste this guy's time, like, with the tour. And it was just funny because he saw the reaction on his face when he saw, like, the credit report come back. He's like, ching-gow, dude. He's like, nope, not doing that, dude. We're not. So that was my story of the day. But Chris, tell us about your stuff, dude. What's been going on with you?
Hey, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So where the fuck was this timeshare to? Is what I want to know.
It was
where are they trying to get you to?
It was a hotel called it starts with a W. Wyndham Hotel.
Wyndham, yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, and basically they're, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if everyone knows. I didn't know because I'm a piece of shit. They have like hotels all over the world, and they basically it's not hotels, they're resorts, right? Obviously, cause they're big time, they're big deals. And they were saying like, well, these can only be used if you own the share time or whatever, and you can only stay there for points. You can't go there and pay money to rent a room and stuff like that. You have to have like invested in it or whatever the fuck, right? And they give you like 400 points a year, and each hotel and each room, how many rooms you get, it's based off of points. So like they were showing you like, oh, if you want to stay in Hawaii, a 1-bedroom there for 5 nights is like 125 points out of your 400. It's stuff like that. If you want to stay in Vegas, like a 3-bedroom, all that crap for 2 nights, it's 150 or 200. It breaks down like that, so that's how they have it all. Of course you have to get your own transportation and everything else. That's just to stay at the spot. And I'm like, well, kiss my ass. So that's all it was, man. It's if you got the money and you're going to be taking trips and you want to have a really nice place to stay at there, then cool. But I'm not going on vacation to stay at a hotel, so it's never, you know what I mean? You like Mark.
Where would you go on vacation and stay at then?
Well, you go to a hotel so you can sleep, but like you're going to Mania. You're not going to go, oh, I want to stay in this freaking badass hotel and stay here all day, It's like, no, I'm going to wherever, you're going to go out for the attractions that are there, not to be at a hotel. I mean, you have to have a place to sit.
You're fine with the hop-on-in motel, dude.
Fuck no. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm not going to give somebody $8,000 so when I go on vacation.
I'm fine. I'm fine with the hop-on-in.
Oh, yeah, I know. You're over, dude. You're over like a son of a bitch.
Chris, would you be fine? Would you be fine staying at a week in a hop-on-in motel for like $35 a night by one of those that's owned by an Indian dude?
Yeah, well, when Desi got married, I stayed there 2 nights, 2 nights, and I stayed. The first night was at his house, and then the night 2 and 3 were at that hotel, and it was an Indian motel and everything. But I mean, yeah, it doesn't bother me. I mean, as long as the place is decently clean and has, cable on the TV and all that stuff, I really don't care. I mean, what does it matter where you stay? If the place is clean, has a decent bathroom, has cable on TV, I really don't give a flying fuck. Now, I mean, yeah, is it nice if you can stay at a fucking 4-star hotel or whatever? Well, sure, but I mean, I don't expect that.
Okay, you got
So, is a certain lady friend's vacation over as of today, Chris, or what?
Going back tomorrow, but yeah, whatever.
How much time did y'all hang out during the week and a half off?
Whatever.
Zero.
Zero?
Interesting.
And that's mainly my fault for not messaging her.
Mainly your fault.
Now he's blaming himself.
Yeah, I know he would. I know he would.
Well, no.
Oh,
Let me rephrase that. So it's her being cold and me also being cold in time. So of course when you have two.
What did I tell you, Chris?
Oh, I mean you called it on that. Yeah, we didn't hang out, but so.
No, but what did I tell him, Mark? Do you remember what I told him? Does anybody remember? I said, hey, you need to miss.
Yeah, that he should just be eating steak and eggs so he can lose all that weight.
That too. But I said, hey, why don't you just message her now? Because I think it was only like 2 days or 3 days into this working ass vacation, right? I was like, because what's going to happen is, you're going to say, hey, I didn't hear from you. Well, I didn't hear from you too. Okay, now what? No one wins that game. So.
Oh, I know who wins. I know who wins that one. No doubt about it in my mind who wins that one.
I'm a piece of shit. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. Whatever. Anyway, moving on. Living my life, so not worried about it.
But it's mainly your fault.
No, it's not mainly my fault. But I mean, I'm sure I probably could have gotten a little something had I been more willing to message or whatever. But I'm not going to play that game, so it is what it is. But anyway,
you sound like you're going to bend. You sound like you're going to bend already.
Nope.
Bend a little.
Nope.
Well, if you're not, then why wait for April 8th?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm confused.
So.
That's a.
Anyway.
And dread the lonely nights. I'm not alone. I wonder if these heavy eyes could face the unknown.
I'm gonna live my life till April 8th, dude. Everything's fine.
I was laughing, dude. I was laughing. Oh, my third cousin. Everything's fine. Everything. This shit's still fucking funny.
I'm not worried about it.
Everything's fine. My ex-step half-brother. Everything's fine.
Who?
Never mind, dude. When Mark was reading through The Undertaker's death list, he was like, Jesus. He's like, they're going to take one look at that and go, nope.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, your third cousin, your half-step ex-brother, your ex half-step brother.
I'll tell you a story from
Everything's
2009.
fine.
In 2009, when I was at Harlan Clark, I remember my great uncle, which was my grandfather's younger brother, he died, and I mean he was like, after my grandfather died, he was like kind of the patriarchal figure of that side of the family and everything. So I wanted to use bereavement time to have a day off to go to the funeral and all that stuff. Well, I told my boss about it, my supervisor. I told him who he was, everything, and brought the obituary for him, and I was going to bring the prayer card and everything. Well, lo and behold, Henry said, "Hey, he's your great uncle. They're not going to give it to you for that. Just tell him he's your uncle." So my boss helped me use bereavement time, even though I probably shouldn't have. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Your life is so easy, isn't it, Chris? Man.
No, I mean,
and then together for him.
No, and then in 2011, I used it for my grandmother in January 2011, and I used it for my uncle Jamil in September 2011, day after Labor Day. And I mean, I brought the obituaries, brought the prayer cards, all that shit, and then every funeral after that hasn't been a problem because coincidentally, for whatever the fuck reason, either the funerals happened on days I was already off anyway, or they happened where I went to the rosary but not the funeral.
Okay, you're God. Everything works out for you. Everything
you're
works
God,
out.
Chris. Yep.
Everything
happens so easy for him.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know why you're worried. Everything's.
I know why you're worried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chris. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for monkey pawing it, dude. No big deal. So, the third installment of the Nightmare on Elm Street, dude, the Dream Warriors, released in 1987. Made on a budget of $5 million, made $44.8 million. It was directed by Chuck Russell, and the screenplay, it was a mixture of screenwriters. It has Wes Craven and Bruce Wagner, and from what I remember, these two guys, they had like the idea going around, but it was a little too complex for them to do, and they had somebody else named Frank Darabont and Chuck Russell, who also was the director, to write the screenplay for it. So it's like a hybrid screenplay, and there's I think it's a book or whatever. It tells you the actual Wes Craven version of what was going to be in Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And I also know that he wanted to make this one what would have been a Nightmare on Elm Street 7, the new Nightmare, the one I'm not into but Jason loves. So pretty interesting. Starring Heather Langenkamp, who was Nancy from Part 1, Patricia Arquette, Larry Fishburne, and a few other motherfuckers, of course, Robert Englund. But we're going to talk about our history with this shit. So Chris, what's your first viewing of this fucking film or what?
It was my first viewing of this film, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, pretty good. Mark, did you rent this one back in the day, see it with your uncles and shit?
I'm sure that was the case. Yeah, I saw it back then. Probably my brother was there too. It was a piece of shit movie. It was a piece of shit movie, dude. That's all I got to say about that.
Back then, I had the VHS covers, and it was just Part 1, Part 4, and Part 5. And they had, like, when you used to do the gimmick ass recordings off of 2 VCRs or whatever. And my dad had this one on like a shitty recording, so I never really watched it because it was all the line going up and down the fucking video and shit. So I really didn't pay. Yeah. So I saw it like way later. I was still young, but I must have been like 10 rather than 5 like the other ones. And it's probably my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film, dude. It's always gotten over with me. It's one I didn't care for as a kid. I liked 4 and 5 a lot as a kid. Now I not really. 4 is good, but Part 5 not really. It's not that good, dude. But like I said, this is the return of Heather Langenkamp, and so this one, for those of you that have never seen it before, we're gonna get just a brief summary of what happens here, and then we'll get into it. So it's a few years after the events of the previous film, and a few years after the first film, and this one stars Patricia Arquette as Kirsten. And for whatever reason, now, she's having these dreams about the Freddy house from Part 1. And all these kids who have, like, suicidal, I guess, tendencies, no pun intended, they have all these problems. That one has, like, a drug problem. One has, it's all kinds of shit like that. Mainly drugs for the most part. And they're all meet up at this psychiatric ward. And they're all dreaming about Freddy. And that's basically the story about this one. It's really cool. Instead of just being like one person, that has these nightmares and they're trying to tell everyone else. It's like everyone knows that Freddy is out to get them this time around, and they all kind of talk about it and they all help out each other. So to me, it's pretty good. So how does this one start off, Chris?
Okay, so this one starts off with Into the Fire by Dokken, which is a big hit for them back in the 80s, and oh my God, my brain just went blank.
It starts off with that. I don't know if you remember it, Mark, but it has like this.
Kristen. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah. She's working on this this house out of popsicle sticks, which is the Freddy house. But right. the music that's playing, because it's showing the credits for the intro, it's like really like disturbing, and like it'll put you to sleep, dude. It's ding, 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 whatever. It's like real slow, right? And then she puts on that Dokken song, Into the Fire, to like wake her ass up, and she has that coffee, yes. Dude. So
she has the can of Maxwell House. She's spooning raw coffee grinds down with Diet Coke to keep herself awake because she doesn't want to go to sleep, especially when her mom's not there, who could wake her up out of the dream to get her out of it.
Yeah, she's downing It's Diet Coke, right?
Yeah.
No Diet Coke. And then Into the Fire kicks in. Are you into any of these songs on this one, Mark? The Dokken music or what?
Fuck no, dude. This is a shitty soundtrack, dude. Especially being followed. You follow it part 2, dude. Like, nah, dude. This soundtrack sucks, dude.
I love Dokken.
I love this. This is probably my favorite soundtrack of the whole Nightmare on Elm Street, because it has Into the Fire, and then of course Dream Warriors, which I don't think they use the Dream Warriors song in here. There's only like 2.
They don't use it till the ending credits.
Yeah, that's right. Dun 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 dun. Yeah. Fucking. I mean, this is like me and Chris talk about, which we'll talk about at some point too, as the XIII song. It's like if they would have used that with Crazy Licks for the Jason movie or movies or whatever they did, it would have got it over because like it makes it like super 80s, don't you think, Chris?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. So anyway, so Kirsten has her first nightmare, and it's her seeing some little girl in front of the Freddy house. And she asks her, she's like, what's your name? And the little girl just starts giggling. It's like, what the fuck is this? And she ends up going into the house, and Kirsten goes, after her, little girl, don't go in there. And like one of the scariest scenes, or like one of the most disturbing, is like she's by the boiler room, and she goes, this is where he takes us. And then the fucking the boiler room furnace starts up. And Kirsten does some horrible acting, like she just does like a scream, but you can tell it's like, bullshit. And she goes, Freddy's home. Did you shake, Mark, when you heard that, dude? Or do you shake whenever someone gets home at your house?
Ah, dude, when I was shaking this, because I thought when that Kirsten tells her, little girl, don't go in there, and the little girl was supposed to stop and go, I do what I want, and then just goes in the house and
yes.
It has a fucking chocolate shake or a blizzard from Dairy Queen or something, dude. I do what I want.
Yeah, I do what I want. It must have been Sunday too, right? It must have been fucking Sunday.
Yeah.
So
each one of those kids has like a problem, right? Like they're a drug addict or suicidal and all that shit, right?
Yeah, I'm like I'll be honest with everyone here. Like I've seen this movie a million times. Like honestly, like I've seen it at least 40 times. This film. Mark, how many times do you think you've seen this film?
Maybe like 10.
10 times.
Something like that.
Mark has a much better memory than me. Obviously, for a lot of reasons. One, because he'll tell me I didn't see this movie. I haven't seen this movie in 5 years, 10 years. But he'll say things that I just watched it and I didn't even remember. And I was like, oh yeah, that does happen. So he has a good memory. So I haven't watched this movie in a couple of like a month, 2-3 months or whatever. Usually I like to watch them right before we do these because I'll jot down some notes. So if I don't remember 100%, Chris is here to fucking re-jog my memory and to let me know what happens next as far as what scene and shit like that. But I do what I want. But yeah, the little girl goes in there. Go ahead, dude.
I don't know. I was just thinking that each one of those kids had like a problem.
Yeah.
You know what? They should have had an extra character, dude, in there to like really get the fucking movie over. Dude.
What would his problem
like
be?
A good
dude?
mixture of characters.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd be like 400 pounds. No, but I'd say he's like lazy and 300 pounds, dude. Let's say it like that, dude. Mm-hmm. He does what he wants, dude. Mm-hmm. Nobody tells him what he can do, dude. He likes to lie, dude. I guess he's like a lazy and liar, dude.
Yeah.
That'd be his disability, I guess, dude. What do you think, Chris?
Great. I thought the movie was fine as is, but if you want to add that character in there, I couldn't hurt.
That's what makes this movie so good. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, is that they have these characters and they all have problems, but they're all like very distinct people. And like, to me, out of all the Freddy movies, of course, Chris's third, but me and Mark seen the other ones. But this is easily my favorite film, but it's also easily my favorite cast of like teenagers here. Even though some of them are like not teenagers, but they're supposed to be.
Older. They're older than me.
Yeah, I know, dude. It gets over. I guess we'll go ahead and get into the characters before we go too much into the movie. We got Heather Langenkamp, who of course is Nancy, and she plays like a specialist in dreaming and shit like that. And then you have Dr. Neil Gordon, who's the doctor at
just be Captain of Decent Space. Anyway,
I'm confused. Why would you need to freeze them?
Oh, you're confused.
Or make them cold to warm them up? Why don't you just leave them room temperature and then warm them up? What am I not understanding here? Hello? Hi. Hi.
Gosh dang, dude, this fucking Jerry Gray. I'm always getting these emails.
Oh, it's Jerry Gray. Why do you get emails from Jerry Gray?
From the GoFundMe page.
Oh, you gave him something?
Mic on.
Yeah, back when they were first
Hello?
plugging it. Yeah.
Mic
Yeah.
off.
Hi.
Mic on.
All right. Can y'all hear me or what?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. This piece of shit thing was.
I can hear you fine, dude.
All right. There you go. I was talking and y'all motherfuckers weren't responding. I'm like, is this mic still off? Okay. No, I got it. All right. So, I guess I'll just talk about the fucking the characters really quick. So, well, no, we'll just go through the movie and we'll get them through that way. So, Kirsten has her nightmare when she goes through the house, and Freddy chases her, dude. And like I always thought that was a badass scene because we don't see Freddy yet, and this is like the film where Freddy is finally taking that turn where he's still evil, he's still in the dark, but he's coming out, dude. You know, and not like coming out like in part 2, but like coming out and being a little bit more jokey, which we'll get into, of course, with all the death scenes. But I love when she's like running through the hallway and she like steps in like tar or something with the little girl, and you just see his shadow coming. Like, that freaked me out, dude. I was like, oh fuck! And then you see him, turn the corner and she runs into a room full of hanging. They're not even like kids. They're like look like grown ass adults hanging, right? I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, doesn't Freddy kill little kids and teenagers, not fucking grown ass people? I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
He does what he wants. He does what he wants, dude.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I forgot to mention, I like that the beginning with that little transition when she goes to sleep, and she wakes up in her bed, and then it pans out and it shows like her like in the front yard of Freddy's home, dude. I thought that was a badass little transition shot, But anyway, she wakes up, she doesn't realize that she's still like dreaming, and she turns on the sink, and that's when the sink turns into that fucking Freddy hand and the Freddy glove and slices her wrist. And in the real world, she has like a razor and she cuts herself, and her mom's like,
he fucking framed her. He fucking framed her to make her look like the psycho, and then of course she ends up in the psych ward hospital, whatever.
But I always like that better. That you die in your dream, but it's because you're doing something in real life to make it seem like you did it to yourself, Because in the first one, it's like if you die in your dream. Well, I don't know, because they really don't show how people die. Oh yeah, no, because because the first one doesn't make sense if you think about it, because Tina like stabs herself or gets stabbed, but there's like nothing that would have caused her to be stabbed that in the real world. The only one that does do it is when the guy like hangs himself. But if there was cameras, you would have saw that it wasn't even him doing it. It was just fucking the fucking sheet doing it itself, dude. So I don't know. Right. I like this one that they're like basically sleepwalking and they do it themselves, like cuts her wrist. But that's when she's in the fucking the suicidal West End hospital, or her mom believes she's suicidal, and it's run by the guy Neil Gordon, who looks like that one news guy from HBO. Is it from HBO? I'm talking about, Chris, that one guy that you don't like, who has his own. I think he's.
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher.
He does. He looks like I actually like his show and I like his sense of humor. I don't agree with him on a lot, but I like him. But yeah, he looks like Bill Maher back in the '90s when he had the ABC show and not the HBO show. Yeah. I mean, Bill's old now, but so they're at the hospital, and then Kirsten starts fighting like all the orderlies, and because they're trying to sedate her. And I always laughed at this one podcast I had heard, because it made me laugh because it made a lot of sense. Like the nurse goes, "She was fine until we tried to sedate her." They go, "Well, why would they try to sedate her if she's fine?" I'm like, "Yeah, for real." It's like, why are they just trying to sedate her if she's okay? No, there's no problem. All right, let's put her underneath. And that's when Nancy comes in. It's because Kirsten's holding the fucking scalpel, right? And she's like, 1, 2, and then that's when she starts finishing it off for her, dude. So, Mark, when you worked at the crazy house, dude, was there any kids that tried to stab you with the scalpel, dude?
Yeah, dude, all of them. Fuck out of here. They knew better.
They knew better, dude.
They knew better, dude. Yeah, dude, they knew better. They were crazy, but they weren't stupid. That's for sure.
They were crazy, but they weren't stupid. Oh my god, dude. So, Chris, if you're working at a psychiatric, ward, and a kid pulls out a scalpel on you, are you giving him that wide-eyed Christopher J look, dude?
Very concerned, yeah.
You were pull out the pepper spray or what?
If I'm allowed to carry it, yeah.
One of the orderlies is Mr. Matrix himself, Larry Fishburne, dude. And he's as Max. He's over, dude. I like him in this movie. He's a
cool dude.
He's pretty good, dude.
And this is the most like straight up like I don't want to say hood, but just like, you know, he's like a real, you know, kind of young up and coming, you know, guy, and he's him, you know, versus like in the movie Boys in the Hood. He's trying to come off as even though he lives in South Central LA, he's trying to come off as the professional, you know, the mortgage broker, trying to give an example to his son. And in The Matrix, he's this fucking supernatural, you know, character in the outside of the third dimension and all that shit.
Mm-hmm. No, he's pretty cool. But so Nancy's there with the doctor and Kirsten. And the name Kirsten's a son of a bitch to say because they all say it kind of differently. Like one calls her like Kristen. Kirsten, like you'll hear it a few different ways. So if you hear me or the guy say it differently, I mean that's fucking why. Because Kirsten, whatever. And then we just saw Hellraiser with Kirsty, and they're all kind of like, you know, about the same, dude. So we meet the other patients. We have Philip that looks like Corey Feldman. Don't you think it's like fucking Corey Feldman, dude? The guy that he's the sleepwalker.
Yes.
So and then we have Kincaid, dude. He's a black guy, dude. He's a tough kid from the streets, dude. Who's like he's violent basically. And there's Jennifer, who's she's a white chick who's wants to be an actress, and she like smokes and burns herself to keep herself awake, or I don't know why she does that shit. And then there's Will, who's confined to a wheelchair after a suicide attempt. There's Taryn, who's a former drug addict, and then there's Joey, who's he's like too traumatized to speak. I don't know why he's like that. I don't think they really say, but I know at one point they said he was like he was in a debate talker, and then when we meet them, they say, and he has like a little tear on his eye, dude, like he just shanked somebody. They talk about that they had just lost someone, one of the kids there. I don't know if I think they say they maybe committed suicide or something, but they had just lost somebody there. Do you remember if they said anything about that, Chris, about the other kid?
And I watched the movie through twice, and I don't remember hearing in depth about that kid.
I just heard that there's that. So that night, Kirsten has another dream about Freddy, and that's when she pulls in Nancy into her dream, and it's pretty cool, like, cause like Nancy hears, cause she has that. Nancy. Because she goes to Kirsten's house to pick up some things for her, and she sees the Freddy house, and she like takes it with her, and she goes like, before the dream, she goes, oh no, she takes the house with her, and she has it there at her house, and she's like, going in and out of sleep, and she hears like Kirsten like say Nancy, from the house, and she's like, yes, and then she falls into the chair, and that's when she like falls through like a window or whatever, and she ends up in Kirsten's dream, and that's where we see that fucking Freddy snake, dude, that looks like, like a mandingo, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, like I didn't catch this the first time I watched it through, but then when I watched it through again, the beginning, that's when I saw, like, when she sat down at the mom's house to interview Kirsten or Kristen, whatever's mom, about her and her habits and her thoughts and all that stuff. And then she goes up to the bedroom and sees that little model house. I didn't put together until they talk about it and say, oh, that's my house I used to live in. I didn't catch that she was making a replica of Nancy Thompson's house. I didn't even catch that till they discuss it.
Yeah, she walks in and goes, I used to live... Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Mark. Trash him, dude.
No, of course, he's oblivious. He's oblivious to everything, dude. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, dude. But anyway, go ahead.
So, yeah, they're the next day, where she goes like, Kirsten, wake up, and they both wake up or whatever. And the next day, Nancy goes up to her, and she goes, yeah, I was off for a week and a half, and I didn't see you. Who cares? No, she didn't say that, but she wanted to. She goes, she goes, ask her something like, why are you, why did you make this or whatever? She tells her, like, that's the house that I dream of. And then Nancy tells her, I used to dream of I used to live in this house. And so, that's when we're like, oh shit, like this is really going on, dude. And, that's when Kirsten like tells Nancy that she has the ability to pull people into her dreams ever since she was a little girl. That she used to tell her dad used to tell her he used to think they were his dreams, and he would so it's pretty cool, dude. So Chris, if you can pull someone into your dream, dude, Who would you pull in, dude, and what would you dream of, with them, dude? Let's just say her name's Paige.
Yeah, not dreaming about that. That's for damn sure. But who would I pull into a dream to if it's a dream where I'm in trouble and I need help?
Anything, a dream, Chris. A dream.
Shit. Okay. I could just bring anyone in and do to them what I want.
If someone like
do what I want. Like you're a rapist. Do what I want.
I mean, there's this one trainer over at my company in the gym, and she leads these morning sessions. Man, dude, and she's so nice. Her name's Rebecca, and she's so nice. She always talks to me, and I remember last summer when I lost weight, she's all, "You look really good. I can see it in your face and all this stuff. Keep at it." She's like.
You started doing the air fight.
What did she say now?
I
don't really talk to her anymore.
I haven't go there anymore. I haven't seen her in 6 months. Mark, kiss my ass.
Actually, I saw her last week, and she was like, we talked. Oh, it was kind of the hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Back kind of conversations.
She's like, she didn't go 280 again, huh? That's pretty good.
285. Interesting. Haven't seen you in a while. Makes sense.
I haven't seen you in a while. Oh my god, I love it, dude. We talk about Freddy, but Chris gets it more over. So out of all the people, you would just pull the. Go ahead, dude.
No, go ahead, Chris.
No, I mean that's one of a few ideas.
One of a few.
Anyway,
Playboy Chris Carum, dude. Dude. Now me, I would just be like, hey, it's me and Alexa Bliss, dude. She's She's a zombie dick love slave, or what was it?
Dick slave zombie.
Zombie dick slave.
Slave zombie.
Dick slave zombie. That's
yeah.
Slave zombie.
Yeah, zombie dick slaves for you. Yeah. Hey, Alexa Bliss, dude, you're in love with me, dude. I'll do what I want.
We got a manager in my department who looks like Alexa Bliss.
That's a fucking lie.
I'm serious, dude. She looks like Alexa Bliss's older sister. Like she's a little petite blonde woman and. In good shape and everything, and has kind of that same face and everything. Obviously, she doesn't have like the pink highlights or Walker, not quite as thin, but she's looks a lot like her, and she's kind of cocky the way she carries herself.
Oh, when you're a little sexy hottie like Alexa Bliss, you can do that, dude.
I guess so.
So, Mark, before we go any further, dude, you don't even have to make these dreams, right? Because you're living the life, right, dude?
Mm-hmm.
I know. I was gonna say, like, I was trying to think right now when you were talking, who would I pull in? I was like, it's really like,
maybe I'd have another stake in my dream. That's sell another house. I don't know, dude. I mean, not really much that I want.
You know what I would pull into my dream, dude? I can't believe y'all didn't think about this.
Huh?
I would pull in a Chris that's not lazy or a coward, dude. Think about how good would that be, dude, in my dream.
Hey,
he's walking
with them and he'd come after me.
Walking football fields, Chris, dude.
Hey, I know.
Standing straight up like a human.
I know who you would want. Remember the chick that's with Nick Aldis now?
No, I just told you I'd rather have you in a dream.
Oh. Not the chick with Nick Aldis?
No, dude, no. I get sex all week, Chris. What the fuck? Dude? I'm like, I want to, it's a dream, something that I know I can't get. So I'd rather see you walking straight up with no phone in your hand, no phone anywhere, and you're talking to chicks, you're just being a pimp, dude.
So you're telling me you're going to one day... So you're telling me you're gonna one day.
Think about y'all. What y'all thought about chicks, and I'm thinking about Chris improving his life, dude. Yeah. That's the kind of friend I am.
Boring.
Y'all just run me down, dude. Dude.
So you mean to tell me you're gonna one day go to some fucking indie show where Nick Aldis has the NWA World Title and she's gonna be there, that broad that manages him or whatever the fuck, insurance policy, whatever the fuck, and you're telling me you're gonna smooth talk her into sleeping with you?
I don't know. I might.
I mean, you think you got that kind of power? I mean, I don't doubt that you do. I'm just saying.
Of course, I have that kind of power, but what do I want to do that? I'd rather have you stand up straight.
Well, you were all goo goo gaga
once in a while.
You were all goo goo gaga over.
Yeah, but I'd be more excited watching you walk up to a chick. So, what's up, girl?
Are you talking about Mickey?
Got an extra bedroom.
Are you talking about Mickey James?
No, that's his wife, but they got a manager for him now.
Oh, it's
like a working manager, like a
Oh, it's a blonde chick. Yeah.
I don't get this. He's like this bodybuilder dude. He's like a tough guy. He's a champion, and then he's got an insurance policy. A chick guard. It's like a China, but like when China like lost all her muscle.
Mm-hmm.
She was in good shape. She's better looking than China. So I don't get how that's an insurance.
You're the curse of my soul. Into the fire, I'm intended once more. Into the fire.
And he needs a tall chick to defend him. What the fuck?
That's stupid shit, dude.
Maybe he's a coward like somebody I know. Well, you're gone.
Okay, all right. So,
You're gone.
let me see here. All right, where we at? Christian reviews. Okay. So after all this happens, that's when Philip has his dream, dude. And it's probably one of my favorite dreams, dude. Philip, the guy that creates the
Sleepwalker.
Yeah, the sleepwalker that creates those like little puppets or whatever with clay.
Yeah.
I thought that was badass, dude. When the clay,
Yes.
the Freddy face like formed on that
Yes.
little puppet, he falls to the ground and he just grows. He grows to this huge ass Freddy, or to regular Freddy. I mean,
Yeah.
Chris.
I love
Chris,
that
what would
scene,
you
dude.
do-
Oh, good.
What would you do if you're sleeping and all of a sudden you wake up to take a chug of Mountain Dew and chug a Mountain Dew and a couple of pills of those what were those fat burners he was taking? Dude?
Chapter 2. I haven't taken those since first week of October. I haven't taken those.
I need to go back to sleep, so I'm going to take a stack of tea and some Mountain Dew. Right, you get up and you do your cocktail, right?
Yeah.
And then you look over, dude, and there's that a little miniature Freddy Krueger like that, dude, crawling on the floor like that. What would you be doing? What would you be saying?
Pissing myself.
And then
Would you get Nancy and put her in front of you,
Nancy!
to protect you?
Oh, fuck. I mean, that'd be
You better-
fucking... I wouldn't know what would stop it.
Get out.
Maybe throw fucking holy water or some shit. But I'm saying, like, that scene was done good because that's what Philip the Sleepwalker, like, they won't let him make him out of... He said earlier when Nancy meets him and Kincaid in that room, I can't make carve these out of wood like I want because they won't let me have it because they think I'll slit my wrist.
Yeah, he goes-
So I make him out of... And he made that astronaut he made look badass. But then that one next to the astronaut, it turns into Freddy and like controls him. And it wakes everybody up and they're like pounding on the windows. Like fucking Joey grabs the tray off that nurse's lunch tray and like starts banging on the doors to get everybody out. That was a well done scene.
it's pretty crazy. Huh?
I bet you Joey woke up that nurse. They fucking did.
I mean, I love when, like, how he gets him out of bed. Like, he cuts, his arms and legs, and like he pulls like all his tendons or his veins, and he uses them like a puppet to walk him towards the to the roof, dude. And they're like yelling for him, and that's when he jumps off and commits suicide, dude. And I'm like, whoa, shit. And they're all talking, and they're all like saying like, no, he was awake, and you could see him. He wasn't sleepwalking. And they're like, no, Philip was, he was weak, and they're telling him that all this bullshit. And I like Tara, and she's like, this was murder. Haven't you guys seen enough? And then like the next night, or it's like it goes for consecutive nights. That's when Jennifer, the one who wants to be the actress, and Chris's favorite scene, I already know. And she's watching TV in the quiet. Well, I forgot what they call it, the entertainment room or something.
Quiet room.
Well, the quiet room's the where they put Kincaid later, dude, because he's black. But
Oh yeah, we used to have one of those, dude. We used to have one of those.
the quiet room,
Yeah, that's what we call it, quiet room.
and you would
Go
see
in the quiet room,
you
and then they'll go insane in there, dude. They'll go crazier in there.
Did Matthew go in there a lot?
Yep.
Chris, if you were in those rooms, would you kind of lose your mind, dude, or what?
Fuck yes, that's the whole thing. I mean, if you listen to Welcome Home Sanitarium, James Hetfield says it very well. It's like they keep me locked up in this cage. Can't you see that's why my brain's this way?
Yeah. Can you imagine Chris going crazy in a quiet room, Mark?
What do you mean going? I'm just curious. Dude.
Well, I'm saying
You
like
said going crazy, dude.
well, he's insane already, but if you put him in there, can you imagine the kind of overselling he would do in that motherfucker?
He'd be fucking foaming and shaking, and he'd be all red and sweaty, dude. Right? You You're doing this, have power over me.
Yeah. You just want to have power over me.
Fuckers. One of you fuckers, Cassie.
What do you do?
Let's see which one of you gets it.
What do they do? Like, how long do you keep someone in there? Because, like, I would get thirsty, or you have to use the restroom.
Yeah.
And what the fuck?
Well, it's just so they comes out. Normally, what you do or what we used to do is they would give them medicine, dude, and then say, all right, put it in the quiet room a little. By the time that shit kicks in, you're mellowed out, dude. And then, all right, dude, go get your pudding.
So Jennifer's in the TV room. I think it's what they call it, the TV room. And she's there flipping through channels, and she kind of dozes off. And they have the Zaza Gabor, right, talking to who's the guy that she's talking to, the famous talk show host? Dick Cavett. Dick Cavett.
That's that. Well, you're right.
And they're talking, and what is how does that scene go, Chris? When Dick and Zaza are having that conversation?
And he says, "Can I ask you a question?"
Uh-huh.
Who gives a fuck what you think?
Yeah, and then the TV goes out, and you just hear Zaza go whatever, and that's when you hear the 1-2 Freddy's coming for you, like through the TV, all kind of like fucking fucked up, and then that's when the arms come out of the TV and they pick up Jennifer, dude, and they fucking Freddy's head pops out of the top, dude. And this is like this is the first time you hear Freddy like actually, getting himself, doing some working to get himself over, to what during the kills. And this is the kill that changed Freddy Krueger completely from all the films on. So what does he tell her, Chris?
Okay. Okay, so he first says to her, "It's your big break for TV, Jennifer."
Yeah.
"Welcome to prime time, bitch."
Yeah. "This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV." And she's like, ah! Yeah, and then she fucking... I laughed my ass off when the orderly, I'm gonna call it... I forget... Oh, his name's Max, but I'm gonna keep calling him Larry, probably. He runs in there, he just sees her... he just sees her hanging out the TV, dude. And I'm like, do you know how hard it would be to fucking, like, smash your head through a fucking TV from the 80s, dude? Those fucking glass TVs, like another podcast, like I heard some guy saying, like it's exactly what I thought. He's like, how the fuck did she get up there? Like they don't think that's strange. Like she had like even if she had like a running start to get through that motherfucker, like she was gonna smash her whole body through it.
Obviously, the people that are making comment like that never worked at a mental facility, dude.
You think
so? Those motherfuckers get worked up. When they get worked up, dude, you can't slap them. You can't slow them down, dude.
Oh, they're a bunch of Ultimate Warriors. Powers,
dude, think about it. They're all hopped up on fucking drugs, dude. All of them, dude.
Yeah.
They're all hopped up on drugs. So they're like on a fourth dimension on that shit, dude.
Fourth dimension. They got powers that you've never even seen, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh my God!
So that's an ignorant comment in there. I'm offended.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that because like this is the perfect movie for Mark to talk about because he's worked with crazy motherfuckers. So we're over here trashing them, and he's.
I've known one for 20 years. So
21.
End of discussion. 21 years, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Chris is over like a son of a bitch. So they have their group sessions.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah, dude. So, like, they
don't even know it.
He doesn't know, dude. He's fucking over. He's over like a son of a bitch. I always tell him, I'm like, man, Chris, you get yourself over, dude. So, they have these, group sessions where they all, like, sit in a circle and they, they kind of, like, talk shit out. And that's when it's just Nancy and the kids. I don't know if the doctor's in there, Neil Gordon. But they're there talking, and she starts telling them the story of who Freddy is. And she tells them, like, that they're the last of the Elm Street kids, that their parents and like their had killed Freddy, and she basically tells them the story like what does he want with us and all this and that. So she tries to Neil is there, and she tells them they should try group hypnosis together because Kirsten has like this special power to bring them all together, and they all have powers. They just got to find out what they are, right? And that's where we see everyone's special power. And they're kind of dumb powers, if you ask me, dude. So I guess we'll get into them. They're remaining.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They're pretty stupid. So, the Kincaid, dude, he's like super strong, right, or whatever. But
Yeah.
he just bends chairs.
guess.
Yeah. He's just,
I guess he's super strong, dude. Maybe to you and Chris he's strong, but to me he's just a fat black guy, dude.
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. He's like, his power is that he's super strong, but he really doesn't do anything in the film to like show that he is, like, at least to me, right? But whatever. Yeah, he's super strong.
Chris could bend a chair.
Yeah.
I've seen Chris bend plenty of chairs, but I mean not with his hands.
Not with my hands.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Tara, and like, I don't get it. I don't get what her power is.
Yeah.
She's like, in my dreams I'm beautiful and bad, and she's wearing like leather. She has like a mohawk, and she has 2 knives.
Her power is her hair automatically turns into a mohawk.
Yeah, I'm like, when she did that, I would have just been like, okay, you know, and his name's Will. I always want to call him Philip. Yeah, Will. At least he can stand up, you know. He can walk, so he does have power. In his dreams, he can, you know, his legs work, and he's like a wizard master. So he's like,
dude, I like that shit, dude. That reminded me of like.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna say that.
No, but that reminded me of Joey Cage. Did that not remind you of Doctor Strange?
Yeah, it is kind of like Doctor.
What the fuck is Doctor Strange?
It's a Marvel superhero.
Oh, not interested. Not interested, dude. That's all you had to say.
Yeah. So, but he's the only one that kind of has a power, though. Am I right?
Yeah, he can walk.
I do agree.
That's his power. He can walk.
But when he fucks with Freddy in the dream world. I mean, that was pretty badass.
Well, see, like, he can walk, and then Joey, like, he doesn't even have any power. He just like takes off like a dumbass. And that's when he sees the nurse, dude. That's when he sees the nurse, and she's like, "Hey, Joey, you know, I seen you looking at me and this and that. And, you know, too bad she wasn't a redhead, right, Mark?"
Maybe have it.
And I knew. I was saying to myself, as soon as that scene started and she comes onto him, I'm like, this is fucking Freddy gonna turn into Freddy as soon as they start getting intimate.
What'd you say, Mark?
Is that why you don't talk to chicks, Chris? Is that why you don't talk to chicks that talk to you? That say hello, like, oh, it's probably fucking Freddy. It's probably fucking Freddy trying to fuck with me.
Yeah.
I fuck Bailey, Alexa Bliss, make out with the redhead. But if Becky Lynch was there, I just fuck the dog shit out of her. I fuck her so good she wakes up and makes me breakfast. I mean, I'll be chugging like 5 Red Bulls and a Viagra just to fucking put that ass through a wall. The fucking bed would be a fucking crater.
So I'm cooking the bacon right now, and then I'm gonna put some chicken thighs, boneless, on the air fryer.
Mm-hmm.
Cut them into pieces, and then I got some Lopez mix without the mushrooms. Right?
Okay.
Mix it all up and make sandwiches. Right?
That sounds pretty decent.
What did you say you're having for dinner, Chris?
Oh, I got chicken fajita nachos from Chacho's.
And you did.
And where are the nachos right now, Chris?
In the freezer.
When did you get these?
I got these an hour before we started.
Why the fuck would you freeze them?
So that they stay because they're not going to freeze. You know, they're not, but they're going to stay in an ideal state. So then you can throw them in the oven for 7 minutes, and they'll be good.
Unreal, dude.
Why wouldn't you? I asked Chris earlier in the first break. Why don't you just leave them on the table in the container, and then when it's ready to cook, when you're ready to throw them in the oven, you throw them in the oven.
Why is the sky blue?
Or I do you one even better, dude. Why didn't you just get the pound or half a pound of chicken fajita? You have your own chips, and then just, you know, make your own nachos when you're ready. You don't have to get the soggy ass chips.
Didn't feel like it, but anyway, I'm gonna go. If it's okay, I'm gonna take a 30-second break here. I'm gonna get some more wine, and I'm gonna get the nachos out of the freezer because
you're not drinking liquor. You don't drink liquor, Chris.
Wine is not liquor. Wine is wine.
You don't drink alcohol. For Lent. Hello? Hi. He fucking mute.
Yeah.
He muted it.
Yeah.
Joe, he fucking muted it.
I'm right here. Be right back.
Shit.
All right, dude. Yeah, dude.
You
So
can run him down, dude.
yeah. So I guess we'll talk about the cool stuff of the movie while Chris is getting his nachos. So you know he's not gonna bring anything to the table, dude. So
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
if that nurse was a redhead, dude, would you have started shaking or what?
Dude, I would have fucking hit her in the back of the head with a bag of oranges, dude. You know?
So yeah, Chris was right. He goes, I was like, wait a minute, that's fucking Freddy. And then yeah, when she starts, spitting out the tongues, dude, and tying them
I
up.
would have still gone in there, dude.
Yeah, right. He would have been, all right, it's all good, dude. It's all right, dude. You would have gone, I'm not worried.
You gotta stretch yourself. Yeah. You gotta stretch yourself on occasion, dude. Yeah, so worried, Freddy, dude.
The stretcher job, dude.
Yeah.
That's the other stretcher job. That's fucking hilarious, dude. So yeah, she that's when everyone wakes up from the fucking the hypnosis, and that's when Joey's passed out on the floor, dude. He's doing that working pass out, dude, so he don't have to fucking go back to his room, dude. So yeah, that's when fucking let me pull up here where we're waiting for fucking Chris. And that's when Neil is like, they're going to one of the funerals, I think, for the kids. What the hell was he? Was that Chris?
What was he talking to? Yeah, he's talking to himself.
Okay.
Hello, lunatic, dude.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Man, Mark, you flipped out on there. He hit mute.
Yeah, the frozen nacho.
Well, because you already know how you are. Why would you freeze nachos, dude?
No, I'm saying no, but you got mad. You're like, he hit mute. Like, okay, that's what you do when you get up. So
he had to get the podcast over with the Jim Ross commentary, dude.
Well,
Yes.
Chris, you're the one that went. Now. What do you call more crazy or freaking out more? Me going, he hit mute, or Joe showing you a screenshot of him sending someone a friend request and you fucking losing it, dude, and you delete him and then block him off Facebook. What do you consider more? What do you consider more of a freak out?
How was that promo, Mark? I remember that morning, dude. I think it was in the morning when he had cut me.
It was Tuesday, May 24th, 2016.
I remember. Hey, Chris, you want to know a secret? And you're like, oh, okay, are you sure or whatever? And then check this out, and then of course I just started fucking running out of the house, fucking screaming me, dude, like, oh yes, and then are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking funny?
Yeah, dude, that's exactly how he did it. I was so pissed off, dude. I'm like, when Chris unfriended me and blocked me, I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do now? I was like, the chat's over and done with, dude. Because I sent a friend request to an old bandmate, dude, of his, and he starts fucking, you fucking friended up. Oh my god, that was in my mind, I thought the whole world was gonna come collapsing down when you did that. Yeah. In my mind.
Every day.
No, because like I was thinking of the family involved. I was thinking of the tension that had been going on the past 10 months. I was thinking of all that stuff, and I was like, he's gonna destroy everybody's life because he has to get a laugh. Like that's what I was thinking.
He's gonna destroy everybody's life. So Chris, it's been.
Meanwhile, the guitar player is his brother, dude. Unbelievable, dude.
So Chris,
but I thought it was gonna just like stoke up new tensions to make an already awkward situation work. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking about.
Okay.
What we're already doing. So anyway,
it's been about in the
past. It's 3 years ago. All right, whatever.
Okay, so I got a question.
So then it should be no problem, right? It should be no problem. Go ahead, Joe.
Stop.
Go ahead, Joe.
Stop.
Go ahead, Joe.
So it's been 3 years, Chris. So I'm just giving you a hypothetical. So if that happened again, what would your reaction be now in 2019?
Not a good one.
Not a good one.
No, I mean, you only want to be friends with him for that, like, just to get a reaction out of me. Like, that's the only reason.
Well, but you've scolded me for wanting to be friends with somebody, and then you're friends with them. Mm-hmm. You fucking scolded.
You were the one telling me to be friends with them.
All right.
No. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you again. Why don't you be friends with your old bandmate again?
Stop.
I'm
Okay,
confused.
can we get back?
I'm confused.
Can we get back to the movie?
We are going to get back, but I'm confused. You confuse me easily, Chris.
You run it. You're grocery shopping buddies with him anyway. I mean, gosh.
All right. Hello.
Yeah, but I want you to be buddies with them. That's the thing.
So they go to the funeral for, I think it's Jennifer, and that's when the Dr. Neil Gordon, he's there, and he sees
He's there hitting on the chicks at the funeral.
He's hitting on the chick. He sees what do they call him, Chris? Is it a sister or?
The nun. Yeah,
the
sister,
nun.
yeah. Whatever.
He sees the nun in white, and he goes up to him. Do you remember what their conversation was?
Yeah. So he goes to there. And
Sister Mary Helena, that's her name.
Sister Mary Helena, and he goes to the cemetery. He goes to visit the tombstones. Might have even been an end of a funeral for one of the two, and then he goes over to a tree and he kind of leans on there and he looks down, and of course the nun can tell he's troubled, but not wanting to show emotion like so openly in front of everybody. So she says, "It's okay to mourn. This is a place of mourning." And then they start talking, and she asks him, "Well, what faith do you follow, sir?" And he says his answer is science. He's all, "Oh, that's not."
I do what I want.
No, it's something like, "Oh, that's not the best of faiths." And he said, "Yeah, it's left me cold and dry and high and dry, at many points in my life."
Yeah.
And then she tells him, ultimately, the only way you're going to defeat this evil is to put the evil spirit down.
Yeah, she says something like that. I think she says Freddy. I think she says his name he was the son of a nun who was accidentally locked in a room.
Oh,
with the 100 maniacs. Later. Yeah, the bastard son. Oh, it was later.
That was not that scene. That was at the scene at the top of the building.
On the top.
When he sees her at the top. He sees her at the top of the building. He goes up there to see because he had seen her before. Remember, he saw her once just out in the sidewalks in the parking lot, and he saw her and she disappeared. She vanished.
Yeah.
Then he sees her at the cemetery.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
But that's not where she mentions what happened in the past.
Oh, okay. But yeah, she tells him like,
"Shut up,
the bastard son of 100 maniacs," and he goes like, "Freddy," and she tells him like, the only way to stop him is to lay his bones to rest. And after all that, he talks to Nancy, and they go and see. They're talking about, we need to find his resting place. And she's like, "Well, I know someone that who would know." And we're like, "Well, who's this?" And then of course, was there a pop, Chris, when you saw John Saxon, in a fucking security outfit getting drunk, dude? You're like, "Oh, John Saxon's back, dude."
Oh, yeah. And the thing I always think, every time I see him, like whether it was in that first movie or whether it's in this one here, like I look at him and I think of the character, and you probably don't know who this is, Ernie Bishop on It's a Wonderful Life. Like, he looks and talks just like that character. But anyway,
okay. I just know him from Enter the Dragon, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. He's a karate man.
Your style is unorthodox.
Chris's favorite line, dude. It's not even him that says it either, but yeah.
That's the big boss one. That's not Enter the Dragon, dude.
There's a YouTube video.
Remember that shit?
There's a YouTube video with just that one line over and over and over again, like for a minute and a half to some music.
Yeah.
Anyway, put it to a Cuban beat. Anyway.
They didn't do that!
I did not do that! So he sees him, and obviously he's not even on the force anymore because it says something security, so he's like a private sector security guard for some company now, and he's sitting there just getting drunk. Well, him and Nancy, Dr. Gordon and Nancy go in there, and they want to talk to him because they want to recruit him for help dealing with this problem because he's got information that they're going to very much need.
Yeah, because he was one of the parents that killed Freddy, and
old Frederick.
Yeah, old Frederick Krueger, and that's when I think they find out that some shit's going down at the hospital, so Nancy rushes back to go deal with that. He's like, I'll deal with your dad because he doesn't want to help him, and that's when he like pushes him against the wall. I was like, I know you don't care about what happens about Nancy, but I do, all this and that, dude. And of course, Nancy's off the next week and a half, so he wants to spend time with her. So he's trying to get this shit situated, dude. So he'll have time with her. So that's when they go and try to go look for the bones, dude. And that's a badass scene. We'll go back to because while this is happening, Nancy's with the other kids. There's only Taryn, Will, Joey's in a coma still. and Kirsten. So there's only and Kincaid. So there's 4 kids. Yeah, there's 4 kids, and she's there, but they won't let her see the kids because they've been dropping like flies, according to Max. Right? He's like, oh man, even if
Dr. Sims.
Yeah, Dr. Sims. Yeah, well, see, we haven't even talked about her really. There's Dr. Sims, who's like the older woman. Nurse Ratchet. She's like, fucking always angry, doesn't agree with anything. She's, and it's funny, they talk to the character, or the lady that played that character, and she's like, I thought I was a good guy, like I'm like trying to watch out for these kids, and like how everyone hates her, in the movie, like when she goes to conventions, they're like, oh, you're like that older figure that's just like she doesn't believe what's going on, that's that they're being attacked and shit like that. But yeah, Dr. Sims doesn't let them see him, and I forget how, Chris. How does Nancy end up seeing them?
So what she does is she goes back there, and Max is there, and he's guarding it, and he's like, "Look, even if it wasn't Dr. Sims' order, I don't want you around these kids because I think you're trouble." He doesn't say it quite like that, but he tells her, even if it wasn't Dr. Sims, I still think it's not a good idea for you to be here. Well, she's like, well, can you just let me say bye to them one more time?
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
And that's how she sees him anyway, right?
And I mean, come on now. I mean, a man like Lawrence Fishburne and a good-looking woman like Nancy, she show a little cleavage. Like, all right, baby, I can let you in. But
yeah, I was like laughing. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let you in, And then she's like, okay, well, let me at least say goodbye. And it's like he still lets him see him. I thought that was funny. He put up like all this resistance, right? And then she still lets him see him anyway. So while that's going on, Neil Gordon and Nancy's dad, they're looking for Freddy's bones, and they first stop off at a church, right, to get some
church.
And he throws out his liquor in his fucking
liquor bottle. He's like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, dude. I know Chris would have started punching people if they did that to his shit, dude.
I want $10 for that liquor.
Yeah, remember when Mark wanted one of your beers, dude, just to fuck with you, and you were like, no, I want that one, no, I want that one, and then he's like, no, I don't want it, and he's like, no, now you're gonna drink it, now you're gonna fucking drink it, yeah. What
January
the fuck?
20th, yep.
What's wrong with you? Who does that?
Any person would do something like that, dude. Yeah. Who the fuck would do something like that to their supposed friend, dude?
Like you were really coming after him. I was scared, dude. Not because of that, but I was like, oh man, Mark's gonna end up just knocking him out one day, and I'm gonna be here having to drag him to a bed, dude, and I can't pick him up, dude. I can't pick him up. He's gonna lay his ass to the floor.
He's begging for me to do something to him, isn't he?
he wants it, dude. He just wants it so he could have a reason to be afraid now, Make him chug a beer and he'd knock me out. I don't know what the fucking problem is. So they're there looking around, and they go into this. Is it a junkyard? But it's like a super junkyard, dude. Because like all the fucking cars are like stacked and shit, dude. What the fuck? I know you've like
salvage yard.
Salvage yard, yeah,
salvage yard, not a junkyard.
See.
Well. But that's not an insurance salvage yard. That's like a fuck it salvage yard. Like we deal with total loss claims. We deal with. Well,
I know it wouldn't be an insurance salvage yard. I mean,
yeah.
What kind of insurance company would have a fucking car stacked on each other?
Stacked on top, exactly. But we deal with salvage yards where they professionally like line up every car and roll them through for auction stuff. They're fucking stacking cars on top of each other. Like fuck it. I mean, who would do that?
Yeah, no, I had saw that as a kid, and I thought that was the craziest thing ever because I had never seen anything like that. It's something as simple as that, like a bunch of cars stacked on each other. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And like, cause like most horror movies and shit like that, they're kind of like, you're either like in the streets or like in a house, but to be in like a salvage yard, dude, that's like, whoa, what the fuck, right? I mean, isn't that like a kind of a new thing? I mean, you don't see that really in any kind of horror movies, do you? Or have y'all?
It is, and so here's a couple things on that. So that contributes, like every time I deal with a claim and then we settle, and then they ask me, so what are you guys gonna do with the car? And like, who gives a fuck? It's a total loss car. What do you care what we're doing? Like, well, it's gonna go to a salvage yard. It's gonna get auctioned, and then they get all mad. Like, you mean someone's gonna buy it and fix it up and drive it again? Yeah. Well, why can't I keep the car? Well, because it can't be fixed by insurance for legal and liability purposes, dumbass. But anyway, well, in Sopranos season 6, Chris Moltisanti becomes like a movie producer, and they make a scary movie where that starts in a fucking salvage yard, And like he kills off the boss that had him killed, that slept with his fiance, which, you know, he was taking a jab at Tony through a movie he made. So that was kind of interesting. So that's maybe one movie I've ever seen where that happens. But
Okay.
Okay.
Don't know what that means, but okay. So they go back to the quiet, well, not the quiet room. They go back to like their little huddle room, right? And she's all like, okay, we have to you know, do this together or whatever. Like Nancy tries to get them. Oh no, they try and I don't understand how it works, because they put Kirsten in the quiet room by herself, right?
I don't remember Kirsten being in the quiet room by herself. I mean, she probably was, but I just don't remember that scene.
Yeah, well, because they're like, yeah, because I know Nancy's like, she's all by herself. We need a helper, and so like she goes to I think she tries to get them to go to sleep so Kirsten can put them back, because they put her like, you know, put her under so she can go to sleep or whatever, for whatever reason, I forget. But I just know that yeah, they go under hypnosis again, and then they all end up in the quiet room with Kirsten again. Remember? And then that's when Freddy starts slicing the walls up, and there's feathers flying everywhere.
Yes, and and then they go in the dream world and they find Joey's body and all that. That's right.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I didn't get that. Like, why did Nancy go in? Oh, you know what? That's what happened. Now I remember. So that's when Nurse Ratched, dude, she's there. She's like, put everyone under sedation and all this and that or whatever. And then I remember Kirsten being dragged out. She's like, you stupid bitch, you're killing us. Some shit like that, you know. And I was like, oh fuck. So that's why they put her in the quiet room and to sedate her. And that's when she pulls everyone in, and that's when Freddy separates them right away. And this is where the movie, like, really... I mean, everything's been good about the movie. They've got the good dialogue. They got the good fucking, you know, story. They're kind of, like, figuring out who Freddy is for the kids there. Like, we know who Freddy is already, but the other kids are not too sure. So the first one is Taryn, dude. It gets over like a son of a bitch. Taryn, you know, because, of course, she used to be a drug addict. And like one of the scenes too, she's there walking in the middle of the night. I think she's wearing a Dawkins shirt too. And then one of the other orderlies is like, "Hey, I got some grade A quality, whatever." I forgot what he tells her. Like, you know, do you remember what he tells her?
Oh yeah, you're talking about Lorenzo, the scumbag.
That's the one, dude.
Yeah, that guy.
Why is he gotta be a scumbag?
He's hitting on fucking underage chicks, and he's like 30 at least. I mean, fuck, what a low life. But anyway, But then are you talking about when they all get into the dream world and she's wearing the leather jacket and the Dawkins shirt and the mohawk hair and she's got the switchblades and shit and Freddy comes at her?
No, I'm not talking about that, Chris.
Okay, I'm jumping ahead. Okay.
I'm just saying, because like she talks about, you know, because they're bringing up the whole drug issue, right? So that she used to be a drug issue. She's like, fuck off. But yeah, she goes into the dream world and she sees some like old hobo like pass her by, and you're like, you think it's Freddy? You think it's Freddy? Oh no, well she goes there and like the wall behind her, it turns into bricks and it says Freddy and Taryn, dude. I was like,
with the heart and the arrow going through it.
Yeah, dude, reminds me of a couple I know, dude. They get over like sons of bitches. But so yeah, the hobo passes her by, and then when she turns around, like she bumps into Freddy, and he's all like, you know, and I forgot what he tells her. He's all like, "Look familiar, Taryn," you know, and she's all like, "Okay, yeah, so let's dance." Like she has the two knives, dude, and Freddy's got the glove, and they kind of go back and forth, and she stabs Freddy once, and he goes, "Oh, why should we fight? We're old friends, you and I." And that's when he has those. What kind of drug? Well, I don't even. It's supposed to be heroin, right? But it looks like it's got like dishwasher soap in it. That's Windex.
Like
Windex.
Blue liquid or some shit. Yeah, Windex. Exactly. There you go. Or blue Kool-Aid or whatever the fuck. And yeah, and he's got all 10 fingers, and he jabs it in the hole marks on her arms.
Yeah, they're like. They look like eyeballs or like, but they're like sucking. They look like octopus little, you know, whatever gimmicks. But yeah, that's when he fucking shoves his fucking heroin Windex needles in her, dude. And I'm like, that's it, dude. That's all the fight she had. That's her superpowers, that she can get super high, dude. And she had the vein go up to her head, dude. So, you know, that's all Taryn wrote, dude. And then that's when Taryn and then Will. Then we have the dream with Will again, like the fucking feathers are flying. And this is one of my favorite deaths, dude, because it's so fucking hilarious and cool at the same time. It's you know, Will's in the super. It looks, and actually, I don't know if y'all remember. Y'all remember when Tina was running down the boiler room, like in the beginning of the first film, like the first when she's like just running by herself and she sees like a lamb or whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it looks like, and there's Freddy at the end of the hall, and he's all dark, and again he's talking. He doesn't really talk in the first two films. It's he has a little bit of shit to say, but this one he's really getting himself over. And one of the things I had always noticed, and even more so now, like I always kind of like laughed, that he has like a few different voice changes. Did you notice that, Chris? Like his voice changes. Like
he did.
Yeah, because
some of it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, some of it was like that really. Some of it was that normal Freddy like you expect from part 1 and even part 2, that like that. But the other part of it was just kind of a normal sounding voice. And there was one time where like you could barely understand. It was just super deep. It wasn't rough. It was just really deep.
Well, I think now that I remember now, I'm going through it in my head. There's three different voices. When he first gets there, he goes, well, you look tired. Why don't you have a seat? Right? He tells him, and he goes, no, thank you. He tells him like, no, thank you. And that's when he says something to him. He goes, all right. But when you wake up, and then it has like the close up of Freddy. Now you can see his like actual makeup and shit. He goes, "It's back in the saddle again." And then it has like the normal kind of Freddy voice. And then that's when that huge ass ridiculous chair with like the fucking what's that bad guy on Grease that has like the side like razors on his wheels and shit when they cut through Danny Zuko's. Yeah, he has those gimmicks on the fucking wheelchair, dude. And they fucking they slice like he cuts Will like because he like barely like stands at the like the on the hallway at the against the wall, so it misses him, but it cuts him. And he goes, "It's the chair for you, kid." And like I guess like that's like his other voice where it's like no dubby, no deep voice. He just says, "It's the chair." And like I'm laughing because I'm like, man, Freddy's like just like saying all the best shit you could say, right? And then that's when he's like slamming the floor. He's like, "I am the Wizard Master. I am the Wizard Master." And he jumps up like fucking he's Harry Potter now, dude.
And he comes up and he starts doing the Doctor Strange like zapping and shit. And you think he might have him, but then he's like shakes it off and
he fucked up.
Wheelchair. He fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah. What about the wheelchair? Go ahead.
But that wheelchair was like a medieval torture chamber device kind of thing. Dude.
I guess that's what it was supposed to be. Now that you mention that, dude. But. Yeah, he goes after him, and then he turns into the Wizard Master, and like he throws like that green or blue lightning at Freddy, and like Freddy like freaks out. Oh, he blows up the chair, and it's like explodes, and then he's all like, "In the name of Lorik, Prince of Elves, demon be gone!" And and like a dumbass, like he's doing the dick lunge at Freddy. Like I'm like, if I was between Freddy, like all he has is that glove, I would try and keep as much distance as possible from him. But he's like running towards Freddy, and they like the thing is that Will likes was it Dungeons and Dragons because they play it earlier in the film. We didn't talk about it because it's like a real minor scene. It's Joey, Taryn, and him, and they're like they're playing their game. So that's his whole thing. But yeah, he runs at Freddy, and then like Freddy gets over again, because he's running towards Freddy, and then Freddy just grabs him by the neck and he lifts him up and he goes, "Sorry, kid, I don't believe in fairy tales." And that's when he stabs him in the heart, dude. And then the funniest part is when Will gets stabbed. He goes, "Ah!" I don't know why. It's fucking hilarious. It's a good badass death scene, but it's just like the dialogue and the voices and everyone's shit. It gets over like a motherfucker, dude. So Mark, did you laugh at all whenever you saw that fucking scene, dude?
Well, of course I laughed because I like seeing the weak and the nerdy get beat up on, dude. So of course I found it humorous, dude. You know me.
And Chris, what the fuck, dude? What about you? What was your thoughts on this? See anything that I missed or what?
No. I mean that's the thing. You described it exactly as it went down, but I hated seeing Will go because I liked him.
Yeah.
But ultimately, this kind of movie and this kind of horror film and slasher film, ultimately, it's going to lead down to just a couple survivors.
Yeah.
Know that right out the gate.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this film is that there's quite a few survivors, but they what's his name, Kincaid. Well, actually, Kirsten has her dream too in this. She has like a dream of what happened in the beginning of the film where her mom comes home, and that's when she goes like, she's dreaming the exact same thing. She goes, "Oh, Mom, I had the most horrible dream," and she hugs her mom, and she thinks that everything was just a dream that just went on. And that's when Freddy comes back up, and he goes, "I said, where's the fucking bourbon?" I was fucking laughing, dude. I was like, fuck,
And
dude.
we're in the suit.
Yeah, that suit, dude. See, like, Freddy started really getting over in this film because, like, he never really, like, I love Freddy too, like, as far as, like, my favorite Freddy, because there's, like, no joking. It's just him being a straight, no pun intended, but a straight up fucking just mean guy, And the first one, he doesn't, I don't like his voice too much and things like, but the second one's the best. But this one, it's, like, almost there. Like, they put him, like, fucking Freddy Krueger in a fucking tuxedo, right, or whatever the fuck. You're like, oh, dude, that's fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? And that's when Kirsten does her backflips and all that and jumps to the house. But anyway, her, Kincaid, and Nancy end up, kind of reconnecting back because Kincaid punches through the wall, and they're like, "Oh, Kincaid, I can kiss you." He's like, "What's stopping you?" The old Christopher J. Then he gives her the wink too, right?
And
the
then,
Christopher J. wink.
and then that leads into, what I love in that scene, and what I love about that is fucking. I love when Joey finds his voice, and he has a power that. There's a character, Joe. Did you grow up watching the X-Men cartoon on Fox?
Of course, dude.
Okay, so you remember Mr. Sinister?
Yeah.
And remember, Mr. Sinister had that clique of bad guys underneath him that all had, like, really strong but different individual powers. It was, like, one thing they could do, but they did it really fucking good.
Yeah, the NWO.
Yeah, and there was that one guy he had underneath him. And he looked like an 80s hair band lead singer. And
Yeah.
He could, like, yell, and it would, like, destroy everything around him and shake everything.
Yeah.
Fucking, like, that's the power Joey had. Like, he broke all those mirrors that they got trapped in.
Yeah, well, see, yeah, that's we're skipping ahead, but no, that's cool. So they all kind of get back, and then they're like, "Freddy, bring your punk ass out here!" Kincaid's, just being black, right? And then that door just shows up out of nowhere, and he goes, she goes, "There's a door." And he's like, "But it don't go anywhere." And she goes, "You're like, yeah, it does," and it opens, and you just see red, and it's like a spiral stairwell that goes to, like, the boiler room and shit, and
That's right.
it's all crazy, looking, and then they see Joey, still getting tongue, dude, from that redhead, dude, like hanging over like a pit of volcano, whatever, lava, and Freddy comes out from the side, dude. And he has like a doll or like a teddy bear or something, and I think he even takes off his hat, like, Nate, nice to see you, Nancy. It's been a week and a half, girl. Like getting himself over, dude. This like, Nate, check it out. A fan in every room. It's pretty good. And she goes, "Let him go, you bastard," or and she's like, "Your wish is my command." And anyway, they end up like saving Joey from getting thrown into the pits of hell. And I think I don't know if it's Kincaid. I think Kincaid is getting choked and shit. And then one of them throws a fucking like a steel rod through and he where do they stab him at? Is it in his mouth or in his stomach? I think
In his stomach.
Yeah.
So he's got Kincaid one-handed, like, holding him up, and then Nancy grabs the fucking rod and gets him right in the abdomen.
Yeah, and then that's when he pulls it out, right? And then he licks it, and they're like, "He's so strong. He's never been so strong." And then he rips off his sweater, dude, that over-ass sweater, and he goes, "Yes, like the children give me power." And
they're like weeping and wailing on his abdomen as he says that.
Yeah, they're all like, "Yeah, of all the kids he killed," and that's when they end up in a fucking what is that? It's like, it's not his house or something, but it's like where they're all where all these mirrors are at, dude. I don't know how the fuck they end up there, but they end up
fucking dream.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's a fucking dream, and they're there looking, and it's like a really cool, dude. I love this fucking whole movie that they're able to go, and I'm glad you said that. It's like they go from the boiler room to this, and they go to this fucking ugly ass house, like one of those $35 motels that Mark was talking about. The carpet's all fucked up. It smells like, what that fucking place smells like? Cigarette, like a motherfucker. And you see all the fucking different Freddys in the mirror. They start pulling like Kincaid and Nancy and Kirsten through all the windows and shit. And that's when Joey goes, "No!" oh, and then that's when they all bust open, dude. And then Kincaid, all black, he's like, "Hey, man, you found your dream power." Is there anything?
Can I hop in on this? Can I hop in on this here?
Oh, of course. No, dude. This is my podcast, dude. You can't talk.
Sorry.
Yeah, Chris.
Go ahead, motherfucker.
No, I was gonna say. So one of the things that I liked that they did in the scene where he's holding Kincaid up one-handed and gets stabbed in the abdomen with a rod. I like that he shows them, takes off his shirt and shows them the faces on his torso of all the kids he's killed, because that right there sets the tone and clarifies there's no moral, gray areas in this. So the story could have been, had they not had that scene, that he was unjustly accused and murdered by the mob of people because of being accused of doing all this stuff to all these kids. But no, he admits guilt right there in one fell swoop with that.
Yeah. Well, they always knew he did it. It's just that the police, they didn't do something. I forget the exact. Well, you hear in the first one that they didn't get the proper procedures for a warrant search, so the case just got thrown out. So it's not a case of him not. They didn't know he did it. It's like they know he did it. Just the police, the evidence they obtained, it was done a certain way, whatever, that he was able to get away from it. So,
but movies today would do that though. They would have you thinking.
I'm glad you said that. I'm assuming you've never seen the remake, right?
I saw the remake in 2010, and that's what I was thinking. Like,
yeah, that's what they do in the remake, actually. Yeah, so yeah, they try and make it seem like if he's like they're not sure, So that movie sucks, but we'll get to that. I'm glad we're doing these films all in a row now, so we could just bap, 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 and talk about it. But yeah, so as all this is going on, that's when Neil and John Saxon, who Donald Thompson is his name, yeah, in the film, they find the bones, dude. It's pretty badass. It's probably one of my favorite scenes in all the franchise. That's not like a super. I mean, people die, but it's not like strictly like a death scene. I guess I would say, but they open up. I think it's in a Cadillac, dude. Freddy's in the back of a Cadillac.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that Cadillac.
Fishtail Cadillac.
Yeah, that Cadillac right there. And they find the bones. They start digging, and it's about when they're just about done. That's when the fucking bones just they fucking animate. I'm like, oh shit! And have y'all seen Jason and the Argonauts, dude?
No.
No? You never
Nope.
seen? You've never seen Jason and the Argonauts from the 60s or 50s? It's like they're in like a Greece. It's like one of those old Grease kind of tales. No, wait, we're gonna talk about that, dude. It's badass.
You're God.
Yeah, well, it's like for those who've seen Jason and the Argonauts, there's a bunch of skeletons that fight Jason and his gimmick friends here, and it's exactly the way Freddy looks. And Freddy, he even got he's not wearing a glove, but there's like fucking knives on his bones, dude. And he grabs Lieutenant Thompson and goes, "You," or something like that. He's like, "All right, we killed you before, you son of a bitch,"
Yes.
And Freddy just, completely jobs him out, dude. Just grabs him and throws him in and gets speared. he
gets stabbed from behind on that fucking blade sticking out from one of the cars.
He fucking knows. He just dusty roads right through fucking John Saxon.
Yeah. He's like, nope.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? I thought it would have been like a little bit better build-up. That's all I could kind of like trash it for. It's like, what the fuck? Because like you have someone that actually killed Freddy in like his real life, and like here's the return, and he just fucking no-sells everything. Oh, I love it, dude.
But it's an interesting scene because that's like where it's almost like you have the same person existing in two different persons at the same time. It's kind of like the mystery of the Trinity, if you will, because here's Freddy in the dream world, occasionally making his way into the third dimension to fuck with people, and he's doing all this shit. Simultaneously, you have his skeleton.
Well, no. Well, no, that's why that's now I was like, well, how do they end up here? But that's why Freddy lets them go. Is that he feels them touch his bones, so he lets them go in the dream world because he's like, oh fuck, they found me basically. And that's when he lets go of the dream world. Yeah, because I remember that. He's holding somebody up, and then you just see him kind of like disappear, and that's when he goes to his like the real world, and I thought that's kind of crazy because that he like he had the ability to actually go to what's really going on in the world with his bones. That now that they like, because they've never been laid to rest, so like I don't know, it's kind of cool that he's fucking able to reanimate them. And
I didn't make that connection. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah, I forgot exactly what he's actually doing in the dream, but I know he stops and he looks and then he just like disappears, and it's because they had moved his bones. And so all that happens, and he smacks Neil in the face with a shovel a few times too. I fucking was laughing my ass off because like I don't know if you remember, but he like Freddy does like a 360 and hits him in the face with a shovel, and fucking Neil like does the little he starts selling for Freddy, dude. He does the like, oh damn, dude, that hurt like a son of a bitch, but he doesn't oversell it, dude. And Freddy falls into the grave, and that's when Freddy throws dirt on his face, and he goes and then that's when he like goes back to the dream world, as John Saxon, and dumbass Nancy, she's like, Daddy, and he goes, that's right, baby girl, or honey. He's like, you crossed, it's like I crossed over, you crossed over, and all that shit, and he goes, that's right, You had a week and a half and you never showed up, so I just decided, fuck it, it's time to go, and no comment, Chris?
Well, no, I mean that's the thing. That scene, I was waiting for you to kind of let me in if you wanted me to come in, but the thing is, with that had me, like they had me, and I should have seen this coming, knowing how these movies go. They always throw you, but I didn't. It blindsided me because here he is. She said, Daddy, I've crossed over the other side, and then they hug, and he gets all teary and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching this, what I'm thinking to myself is, if I was a woman or even like a teenage girl or whatever, and let's say I've lost my dad.
Who thinks shit like that?
I do. I think analytically as I'm watching these movies. Like I get into the story, but I also analytically think I try to think personally. I'm like, if I was a woman,
right on
and
vagina.
Right on vagina.
Go ahead, I was fucking with you.
And let's say I lost my dad recently, and then I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm gonna see that scene, and I'm gonna get misty-eyed, thinking to myself, wow, if I could have that moment with my dad, who's, so we say, crossed over the other side. Like, I mean, I could see probably a lot of women who have lived that. But then, lo and behold, snap your fingers, and there he is. He's Freddy tricking her. What a fucking asshole.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that as a kid. And like I wasn't sure because I'm like, I don't know, like I said, like 9 or 10 or whatever, or maybe probably even younger. I was like thinking, I'm like, is it really her dad, or is it Freddy? Because he just died, and you're like, well, yeah, he could go and see her in the afterlife or whatever. But I'm like, but I don't seem right. And then when you see Freddy's like glove in her, you're like, she goes, yeah, and I'm like, damn it, Freddy, you son of a bitch. That would be like a perfect Jim Ross, like to cut a promo, right in that.
Oh, I got it. Hey, like Conrad. Hey, Christopher J. What would that sound like if Jim Ross was calling this movie? So, damn, Freddy, damn his soul.
I love you for that. Damn it, damn. That's the biggest damn ladder I've ever seen when they went to the fucking boiler room. Oh my god. So, yeah, she stabs him. She stabs Nancy, and while she's doing that, she like just tosses her aside, dude. And she's about to go, I think, fuck up. She closes the door behind Kincaid and Joey, so it's just Kirsten in the room with her, right? But in the real world, Neil, he stole a fucking crucifix. Or is it we call it crucifix, right, Chris?
He did.
And holy water, and then he throws he does the ashes to ashes, dust to dust prayer. What does he say, Chris? I know you know it, dude. You're a Sunday school teacher.
I don't even remember him saying that. I just remember him pouring out the holy water in the liquor bottle. And then grabbing the cross, and then the priest confronts him about it. He's like, hey, look, I need this. And here's my driver's license.
Yeah. He's like, hey, I need this, He's, yeah. And, but yeah, Neil, he has the thing, and he goes like, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and he forgot what he does like a little prayer while while he's like throwing the holy water on Freddy's bones, there's like light that's like going like piercing through Freddy's body like on his face, and that's when he loses all his power or whatever, and then he puts the or through his stomach, I mean, like across his chest, you know, and all that, and that's when he places the cross on Freddy's head, and then that's when Freddy's head like kind of like, you know, and all that fucking special effects shit. And he just does that. He just starts doing the Christopher J like oversell, like if he was on fire, like spinning in circles, you know. And then that's when he just like disappears basically after that. And the part that I was kind of sad, like as a kid, that I remember, is when Kirsten has like Nancy in her arms. He's like, "Oh, Nancy," you know, like she's all like sobbing over her, you know, like "Please don't go" and all that.
I remember that.
And it was sad because
I know, guy.
I didn't even mean. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, yeah, because you know you had Nancy. She was in the first one, so when you thought about Freddy, yeah, she was the original girl. And then in this one, like she's all helping all the kids out, and then she just fucking, you know, dies, dude. It's like, you know, it's pretty fucked up. And at the end of the film, it's Nancy's funeral, and Neil sees Sister Mary Helena again, and then she like disappears by a tombstone.
Right. She
and
leads him to that tombstone.
Yeah, what does that tombstone say, Daddy?
In loving memory of Amanda Krueger.
Yeah.
And then underneath that, you know, it gives the dates 1920 whatever to 1968, and then Sister Mary Helena.
Yeah. So that's Freddy's mother, and then like that night, he takes that house with him, the one that Kirsten made, the miniature house, on his nightstand, and a little light turns on in one of the windows, and then that's what down. Oh my god, dude! What a fucking movie, dude! What a fucking. We didn't talk about too much of like the trivia and shit like that, just because, you know, a lot of the time with movies, like for Hellraiser, for example, not too much goes on in the movie that's very fucking interesting, you know. So you have to talk about the behind the scenes stuff. But this film is so fucking interesting that just talking about the film, to me at least, carries a good conversation. What do y'all think?
And can I point out too that this movie is a lot more reminiscent, similar to the first one, and not just because Nancy Thompson's back in it and her dad, but also because I was reading here on Wikipedia. So Wes Craven came back and co-wrote the screenplay. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, I mean, he was writing this one, but they didn't use all of it. They used like a lot of it, but whatever. But yeah, that's what's really cool. And like people that are real like hardcore fans of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, or just more, I'm not gonna say people that are real fans, but people that have seen them all, they always say the first one, the third one, and New Nightmare are their favorites. Now, for me, I'm not a fan of New Nightmare at all. It's probably one of my least favorite. It's probably like my top 2 least favorite. I don't know. I have to. We'll do a ranking once we're done with all these, like I've talked about before. We'll rank them. But this one is definitely my favorite so far that we've gone through. And a spoiler alert: it's my favorite Freddy film. But yeah, just a badass fucking film, dude, from beginning to end. I love the death. Like, I mean, we'll go ahead and rate it. We'll talk about this film some more, Chris, but go ahead and give your rating and what you liked or didn't like about the film, anything you would change. And go ahead.
You know, once somebody tells me you can chime in, you know what I'm gonna talk about.
So, Chris, what did you think about the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, dude? Go ahead and what you like, maybe didn't like, maybe highlights, and your rating for this film, dude.
No, I love this film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, it's kind of a dimmer because I know, you know, from what I've heard from you guys in previous podcasts and some other people and other things I've read that, you know, it's only downhill from here, from what I understand. So I'm kind of, you know, sad about that. But at the same time, this film itself is fantastic. I mean, this is the logical second sequel of the first one. I loved it. I enjoyed it. Well written. I mean, it's a fast moving stream that you can follow, but it has build up at the same time. The deaths go well. I like the individual personalities of each of the teenagers. I like how they in the end develop. Like, it's true to the subtitle. The subtitle of the movie is Dream Warriors, and that's what they become. They enter the dreams and try to fight this. Yeah, and they try to fight this fucking guy Freddy. You know, and you know, to no avail for the most part. But at the same time, good story, good screenplay,
Good conversation.
good build-up, good conversation. Yeah, and I enjoyed watching it. I mean, you're gonna laugh, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8.5 because my first time watching it, and I enjoyed watching it. So that's where I stand. I will tell you this.
It's all good. It's all good, dude. It's all good. Go ahead.
And I mean, I will say this too. I think the one flaw, and it's not even a big deal. Like, who really gives a fuck in the grand analysis of it? The one flaw I think in this movie is you thought that Hypnosil drug that they were talking about early on was going to be an overarching theme, and it wasn't, because they never even gave the kids that drug. And I mean, they brought it up for that one little 10-minute frame of the movie, and then you never heard it mentioned again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too. Like I said, we'll still talk about it, but yeah, he does the research in like a fucking old school ass computer with like a floppy, and it was like, it's a floppy disk with like experimental drugs, and it's just kind of crazy that this is made in 87. It's like, wow, it's like that the internet wasn't even around yet or whatever the fuck, but it's like he's using like floppies to fucking do research on like drugs. Like what we do nowadays, it's like if you find a pill or pills and you see it's whatever it's called, you're like, well, what's this? And you can search it, you can see what it is, and it's kind of cool that he was already doing that shit in 87 when no one, I would have thought, in 87, no one would have thought, hey, let me check these drugs through these things or whatever. It's just cool that he's able to do that. But Mark, dude, what's your rating on the film? What did you like about the film? Your overall thoughts on the film? You didn't like, Go ahead, dude.
Well, I keep hearing y'all say this is a great movie. This is great. I loved it. Excellent movie, excellent dialogue, this and that, that, putting it over big time, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, maybe I watched the wrong fucking Nightmare on Elm Street. Which one did y'all watch, dude? Because I watched part 3.
Yeah.
I watched part 3, dude. Which one did y'all watch? Part 2?
Part 3.
Part 2.
Part 3, the Dream Warriors.
Part 3, Dream Warriors.
Well, I must have seen a completely different fucking movie, dude, because I was completely uninterested, dude. I've always been completely uninterested in this movie, dude.
Wow, really?
And
Go ahead.
This one, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Just fucking crap, dude, from front to back. Complete crap.
Why? What's your problem with it, dude? What's uninteresting? You don't like any of the deaths, or?
Dude, it's just. I guess because Freddy starts. He doesn't seem as spooky, dude, as he did in the past. Dude, now he's talking more or whatever, and it just takes me out of it, dude. When he starts getting. He comes out too much. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense or whatever, but it just there's not enough. Well, how do you say it, dude?
Wait, he's
there's not enough of him.
He's in the light too much, or what?
I guess so, dude. It just seems like too. Nah, nah.
Yeah.
1 or 2, the way he's like stalking people, dude. It seems like perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect, dude. This one's too okay. You're getting too funny or whatever. I don't like that shit, dude. And then of course the strong guy that has no muscle just takes me out of it.
You hate Kincaid.
Of course, I hate him, dude. I hate him.
He's Mark Henry.
Yeah.
And then of course that fucking nerd that's there, dude. I just want to beat the fuck out of him every time I see him, dude. I just want to walk up to him, fucking like headbutt him in the nose, dude.
Why are you so violent? Why are you so violent, Joey?
I just hate little dorks, dude. That you just want to. They just seem like they're dragging the rest of the group down, dude. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, it's the NWO and you got Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Or Brad Radford, Louis Spicoli.
So what do you rate this? Go ahead, if you want to rant about it. I'm glad to hear it, dude. I'm glad to hear that people have different opinions on a movie. There's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chris gave Hellraiser a 4, dude. Fuck.
Fuck. Chris has no taste in anything, dude. No taste. He just likes slop. So on a 1 to 10, 10 being, 10 being the Shawshank Redemption, 1 being, Ghost Ship.
Or 0 being a Ghost Ship, dude. That's a 0.
Yeah, 0 being Ghost Ship. maybe like a 3, maybe 3.5, dude, something like that.
What did you
Because
give
John
Hellraiser?
Saxon comes at it.
You gave Hellraiser
1.
a 2 or 1,
Or 2, yeah, something like that.
and you're giving this a
Hellraiser
3?
really stuck. This one's better, dude, than Hellraiser. I'm more interested in this one than Hellraiser, dude.
But only a little bit?
Wow.
Yeah.
Unreal.
What's the problem?
No, that's fine. You know, that's why we're here to talk about the movie. Is that if everyone thought the same about a movie, well then, you know, we all must be pieces of shit, right? If we all thought the same about everything, so that's fine. A 3 out of 10.
I know 2 people that are. Yeah, 3 out of 10, dude. 3 out of 10. I think that's fair.
And mainly because you hate the kid, Will Stanton, in the wheelchair, the paraplegic.
And I hate Kincaid.
Okay.
You're God.
They just take me out of the movie, dude. Take me out of the movie.
Well, for me, I'll just come out and fucking say it. Me and Nancy have a date on Friday night. That's why I couldn't do the whatever the hell it was.
No, it was Mark wanted me to go help him move a bunch of washing machines from something. I remember that.
Unreal, dude.
Washing machines.
Yeah, you got all these washing machines like on a quarter of the price or some shit like that, and there was like a bunch of them, and you needed them moved from like into a truck or some shit.
It was a working ass thing because he knew you were fucking lying, Chris.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that
I was
didn't
like,
really.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's
So
why
that's
you don't remember.
cool.
Yeah, because I had told
Yeah.
Mark, I'm like, someone has a little date with a certain 300-pounder, dude. So you know.
So you psychically knew that, and then told Mark to make up a thing he needed.
I didn't tell him anything. I just told him that, hey, Chris can't hang out with us because he's gonna be busy, if you know what I mean.
But how'd you know that?
Because you told me.
Your pattern. It's your pattern.
Yeah.
I don't
No, it's your
remember that.
pattern. We can figure it out. We can figure it out when you're acting weird.
Yeah, we figured it out. Yes, we figured it out. But
So
for
then
me-
you lied and made up some story about getting a bunch of.
so
I
you
didn't
lied.
I didn't lie. No,
So
I
did
didn't
you
lie.
get
I
washing
was
machines or
joking.
did you not get washing machines?
I don't know. I made a joke about getting machines. I didn't lie.
Yeah, it was a joke. There's a big difference, Chris. So,
Okay. So hey, I got a question. I know I'm 95% sure your answer is yes. Have you seen on the Rhino YouTube channel the docking video for Dream Warriors?
the Rhino YouTube channel. What the
No.
fuck is that?
Like Rhino Entertainment,
Rhino?
they have the
Rhino
rights.
records or whatever.
Yeah, records. They have a lot of the old school like music and shit, and they have the videos for it.
Well, I've seen the Dream Warriors video. Yeah, with Freddy, right?
Yeah, and it's that.
What
that
a-
hard
what a
to track
nightmare.
all the time. You don't have anymore where you have music videos that are for songs that are made for a movie, and like they're showing clips from movie as the song is going on in the video, but then they show that artist as well, like in the scenes of the movie. And that was one of the things I liked about it, is like they're in that haunted house that Kirsten, whatever, goes to at the beginning, and like I like how the band's playing in there, and then Don Dokken and Jeff Pilner or Pilser are walking down the Pilsen. Don Dokken and Jeff Pilson are walking down that hallway looking at Freddy, and Freddy's looking at them and shit. I thought that was cool.
It's pretty good. Did y'all know Winona Ryder was auditioned for Kirsten's role, but the director thought she was too young?
I didn't know that.
Do you think she would have been
Lydia
good, Mark?
Deeds.
Do you think she would have? Yeah, Lydia Deeds. Did you think she would have been over as Kirsten?
She would have been way better than that. Than
Yeah, she would have been.
working as Kirsten.
Because you seen her in like Beetlejuice, where she's got like the bags under her eyes and shit. You would have been like, you know, you would have believed Freddy was after her, dude, or at least trying to start a band with her.
You know what the problem with Winona Ryder in that role would have been?
What?
If she would have been shoplifting stuff off the movie set.
She would have stole Freddy's shit.
That's my glove, dude. I brought that from home.
Yeah. That's my glove. Yeah, dude. Fucking hilarious, dude. Winona Ryder fucking stealing shit, jacking Freddy's boiler furnace or whatever the fuck that was, dude. Nope. This is mine, dude. Good conversation though. But for me, dude, this is a 9 out of 10, dude. I know Mark's like, what the fuck with this 3 out of 10 bull? It's a 9 out of 10, dude. It's the only Freddy film. Like I enjoy the other Freddy films, and like Mark is right with that the first two, they had the best Freddy's with him being dark and shit. And this one, he's out there too much, but I enjoy it, dude. Like all the deaths, he's saying shit that's making me laugh, and I guess that's for certain people that's not gonna, make them like the movie more. But for me, it's like every time he comes out there, with the exception of the first one with Philip's death, when he like doesn't say anything, he just like drags him, by with his veins or whatever. Like that's the only death where he doesn't say anything. He just like does it like maliciously and shit like that. But he doesn't. It's still not as crazy as the first two. But the other ones, when he kills Jennifer, he kills Taran, he kills Will. He's like saying all these funny ass lines and shit, like, but they're not funny, but they're like, he's like trying to intimidate them and get in their head. Who says that? And the deaths are so much more better than the other shit. Like, if you look at the first one, like they suck in Glenn in the bed, they hang the one dude, whatever the fuck, in the jail cell. Tina gets slashed. Tina's death was badass. They drag her around the room, but this one, I mean. Will's like a wizard, and he gets fucking shanked in the fucking, in the chest. But he's like, they have all that build up to that. Jennifer's watching TV, and she gets picked up, like the TV comes alive, and he like throws her through air, and he says all this shit. This is your big break in TV. And then with Taran, he kind of has that, doesn't this place look familiar? And hey, we're old friends, and all that stuff. Like it's more interesting death scenes than the other stuff has. Like in the second one. I mean, there's not really. I mean, he whips the coach's ass in the shower and slices his back. I mean, I like the movie, but it's like the deaths in the film. It's like, okay, all right. So and then when he kills the other guy, Rod. Rod's the first one. The other guy is what's the guy's name for the second one? That looks like Ron. Yeah, Grady.
Grady.
Yeah, like the cool thing about that scene is like Freddy does a transformation. So I mean, that's pretty badass, I guess. But this one, there's like so much shit going on, and they have like the story, like everyone, like it feels like the other films are like very isolated. Like these kids are having these problems, but they're like by themselves when they're going through these things. Here, it seems like they're all sharing the same experiences with each other, and like it seems like this like a tight knit clique. And the other film, it just feels like these kids are on their own, and that's really it. That's why I like this film, is because they have so many, like they're talking about it, and they have that connection, and that's what gets it over. And there's the other films, it doesn't even seem like there's that many people in the film. You know what I mean? Like, how many people actually get lines in the film? Here you have a whole cast of characters from the 2 doctors, or 3 doctors if you count Nancy, and then what is it, like 6 or 7 characters or teenagers, and all these different deaths. And you have the fucking the orderly people in there. They stand out. You have the nun that comes out. So it's refreshing. You know what I mean? After seeing the other stuff. So
it's a much more intricate story than part 2. And again, the feel of it, like I said earlier, the feel of it has more of the part 1 feel, which I like, because even part 1 had a little bit, like you said, everyone's going through their problems by themselves, whereas here there's more of a communal. This is definitely communal because they're all living in this psych hospital. But here in part 1, you've got Nancy and Tina, and then Rod, and you got what's Johnny Depp's character? What's his name? Glenn, and like everyone's communicating to each other about what they're going through to some extent. So again, more of the part 1 feel, and I like that about it. I didn't hate part 2. I very much enjoyed part 2, but this one feels this one's kind of like part 3 of Karate Kid. Like Karate Kid 1 and 3 have a lot more of the similar feel, and Karate Kid 2 is kind of like they go to Okinawa and it's kind of isolated, standalone from what happened in the first one.
Yeah, I've always said that, is that you can skip part 2. Like, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but I'm saying if you just have part 1 to part 3, the story goes, because they don't even mention part 2 in this film, or anything that happens here. It's like, if you had part 1 and 3 go together, you wouldn't lose anything as far as story-wise. Everything kind of just makes sense still. All right, so the Nightmare on Elm Street 3, dude. Mark hates it. Chris loves it, dude. 8.5. That's a pretty high score from the J, dude. And I gave it a 9 out of 10.
That should tell you something.
What?
That should tell you that Chris loves it. You know what that means.
It's a good film. He can like good. He likes movies that you like too.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, but remember, his monkey paw doesn't work on me. Dude,
that's anything I like. Okay. Now it makes sense, dude. Now it makes sense. So what's going on here? So
this is why, bro. Hey, what would that sound like if Vince Russo was talking about Chris and Mark liking the same movies and not liking the same movies? Oh, bro, this is why, bro. When Chris Cameron says he likes Malibu Most Wanted, bro. And Mark Ramos, on the other hand, you know, he's got all his tastes and he's got these high standards and he's getting all the chicks and he's going to have all the overtime, everything's going to be fine, all the money he needs. You're going to clash on movies, bro. I'll be honest with you. You know, if I saw Mountain, that's what he would sound like.
Joe, how would it sound if you friend requested ex-bandmate of Chris's?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
It would sound like Jim Cornette. Let me tell you something, motherfucker. You got something to say to me,
That's how you get though, like the way Cornette cuts the promos, but like you're like shaking and sweating, and you're like,
he gets worse.
I want to know where he lives. I want to fucking know where he lives.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
I get to a dark place,
Yeah, that fucking Freddy voice from Part 2, right? Like, you know, fucking super deep. The fucking that's you know, like I can't like I said, I can't wait till we can go through these movies and we can talk about the different Freddys. Now, you know, Chris, now that this is your third Freddy film, and this is the film that actually when they started calling him Freddy, they didn't call him Fred. The first one they called him Fred Krueger. You know, Fred Krueger, man, Fred Krueger, and you know why we killed Fred Krueger. And the only time I heard him say it, from what I remember, I mean, you know, this is off of memory, is in the first film they call him Freddy, is when Nancy's running up the stairs and it has that goo or whatever that turns into goo on her feet. It's when Freddy like has like Tina's face on his face. He goes, Nancy, please help me, save me from Freddy, and then he calls himself Freddy. You know, Freddy. That's the only time that I remember them calling him Freddy.
Or when the kids in the you know, say in the nursery rhyme, 1, 2, Freddy's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't say 1, 2, Fred's coming for you, dude, because then you just sound like a piece of shit, dude. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because yeah, they call him Freddy in the nursery rhyme, so I don't know why they didn't use it more. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. Yeah, but they call him Fred Krueger, so that's kind of weird. But yeah, here they call him Freddy for the most part in it. And Frederick Krueger. That would have got even more over, dude. And then Chris was their dad.
I mean,
Chris was Freddy's dad. Chris was Freddy's dad.
Frederick Krueger sounds like the name of a fucking Nazi general.
Well, yeah, like we talked. I think did we talk about it part one? Is that there was a kid that picked on Wes Craven, and his name was Freddy, and that's why he named him that. But yeah, if you say Frederick, yeah, it sounds more German, because the name Krueger is why he said that, because you know, we named him Krueger. It's because like, yeah, it has that German feel, like strong and evil, maniacal, all that gimmick shit. So Frederick Krueger, yeah, like, it gets really over, dude. Freddy.
Randolph,
Frederick
Mortimer, and Frederick. Dude.
Oh, I mean, Frederick Krueger sounds like the general who answers to Heinrich Himmler.
Same guy, dude. Same guy.
So I got a question, dude.
Go ahead, dude.
I got a question for Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So, if Wes Craven had started making the Freddy movies, let's say 10 years before when he first started, dude. All right, takes off. They get super popular. And he talks to John Saxon and says, hey, dude, he talked to Bruce, dude. See if he wants to come out in one of these Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Yeah, talk to that motherfucker, get him over. Well, so they put Bruce Lee against Freddy Krueger, dude. Freddy versus Bruce. Who do you think wins, dude? And is it like a build up, or they just start battling right away, dude? You know, from what do you think, dude?
If it was a Bruce Lee versus Freddy film?
Yeah, you know, because they get John Saxon. John Saxon to talk to Bruce.
That's the most over-ass idea I've ever heard in my life, dude. That's the most creative, badass connection, funny ass fucking. It could be a good ass movie if you really tried it, you know.
Think about it, dude. He's already been slashed with the claw before, dude. So can you imagine that iconic poster that everybody has, a picture where he's like slashed on the abs?
Yeah.
It's from the fucking Freddy glove, dude, instead of that fucking instead of that guy from the Big Boss. Dude,
I don't know if anyone's ever made that connection, actually. I've never heard it. Like, I'm a big Freddy fan. But you have John Saxon in a movie where, Bruce Lee's getting slashed with his claw, right? And then Wes Craven casts John Saxon in this movie where the main, was it antagonist, uses a claw to kill people, dude. I mean, I'm pretty sure, even though he doesn't say it, dude, because like I love what you said last time, because you're throwing like Wes Craven under that Karam Freddy bus, and when I told you that Wes Craven, the director, writer, creator of the film and of the first film and the character, that he's like, oh, I don't like part 2. I like he didn't like any of the films because he was
I know where you're going.
Yeah, because he had said part 2. He didn't like it or he hated part 2, and he hates a lot of the other ones. He didn't like any of them. But he really hated part 2 because Freddy came out in the real world, and like he's around a bunch of big teenagers, and he's not scary anymore because now he's just whatever. And I had asked Mark, and you can hear it on the podcast. He goes, well, he just sounds like he's jealous and all that. He just doesn't want to get the other sequel over. And then you say something like that, it's like, well, it sounds like Wes Craven, got an idea from that, like he's there writing this film, and like he's like, oh, what if like someone. It's just, to me, it's just weird that you would cast John Saxon, a guy that's been in a movie with such a distinct slash, and then you make a character with a slash, and then you cast John Saxon. You know what I mean? Like, even the way he slashes Tina in the stomach, it's like, it's all there, dude. Well, how would I? Well, it would get over, because like you said, it's like you can. I mean, how would you do it? I mean, I don't know. I don't have a script yet, but it would be like someone tells Bruce Lee, right, about this this guy that kills you in your dream, dude. He's like, he's unstoppable, dude. He plows through everyone. And you put Bruce Lee there, who's, again, like an unstoppable man in real life, but he's fighting this dream demon, dude. So he's got to use his kicks and his jumps and all this and that to fight him, dude. And he's getting more and more scars on his body every day he wakes up, dude. He's getting sliced up, dude. I think that would be a fucking great, dude. It'd get over like a son of a bitch, dude.
I can already hear him, dude. A dream. No. He's like, this is my Bruce Lee voice is terrible, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, a dream and no dream in reality. Try to get off philosophical on him, dude.
Fucking Bruce Lee, if he was really fucking, he really spoke English like shit.
He's like, you enter the dream world, it become the dream world.
Yeah. To become the glove, you must, put 3 fingers in ass. He would come up with something, dude. He would come up with something pretty good, dude. Oh my god, dude. Bruce Lee versus Freddy, dude. They have Freddy versus Jason. Why can't Bruce Lee get it himself over? At least Bruce Lee's got some charisma. It's not just Freddy working the crowd. Jason doesn't talk, And
I think what would happen is Bruce Lee like, nah, dude. No, he'd have to no-sell everything. Like,
no, I know he would.
Everything else, dude.
He would no-sell. He got stabbed, dude.
He's got a fucking demon. He's got a demon, dude, coming after him, and he's still no-sell slashing and all. All he does, he'll lick his wound, the blood off his fingers.
But in the game of death, he got kicked in the chest.
He got kicked in the chest.
Yeah,
with the footprint with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Here, I'll tell you. I remember what Mark, because I've listened to that podcast a trillion times, so I can tell you what Mark said. Is like, you asked Mark because Wes Craven wasn't the screenplay on part 2, and he had criticism of the fact that he's around in the real world, in the third dimension, these big, tough teenagers or whatever. And he says, that should in theory weaken him, but he's still got his powers. And then Mark's all, that's just Wes Craven trying to be the smartest guy in the room. It's like, oh, well, he's around these teenagers. That's foolish. And then Mark goes, the epic quote is, no, a guy that tells jokes and then kills you while you're having dreams is foolish to begin with.
Well, that's why some bitch is over, though. Mm-hmm.
They play the music. There's no gosh damn Mark Ramos.
Yeah, dude.
Some bitch was over though.
Yeah, whenever I don't know the answer, I just ask Mark. Hey, Wes Craven said this, dude. What do you think? Well, he's a piece of shit. Well, all right, that's it. That's all there is to it.
That's how you say it.
I was waiting, dude. Now that we're, we got Freddy over, I'm gonna get myself over. I'm gonna get Chris over, I mean. So we're there at the timeshare thing, right? And I'm already thinking, like, man, I don't want to be a dickhead to these people, but, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. And they're gonna ask you, like, hey, can you afford this? If not, why not? All that bullshit. I swear to God, I wanted to say, money's getting tight. Money's a little tight right now. I swear to God, dude.
But you know what they would have said, right? If you would have told them that, right? What the response would have been?
What?
Because I'm sure they hear that shit probably 10 times a day.
Money's getting tight.
Yeah. So the response would have been, money's getting tight. Well, okay, we'll go buy yourself an extra car, and get a bigger place, dude. You really can't afford it after that.
Money's getting tight, dude. Oh my God, Chris, you're over like a son of a bitch, dude. I swear to God, I was there and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be here, dude. It's Monday. I was thinking that, dude. Fucking Chris, dude.
You just fucking left, dude. What the fuck were you doing there?
Well, when the wife wants to get something over, you just have to deal with it, dude.
No, just go to Ripley on your own. What the fuck are you?
Yeah, but if you go to Ripley on your own, I priced the tickets online. Package they offer them, that's $60 for 2 people, so he's getting it for $40, plus a $75 gift card.
It was $60 for 2 people, the whole thing.
Yeah, for three.
So I saved $20, and that was it.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you.
And you get the $75 gift card.
Well, no, it cost me $40 to pay for it, so I got $35.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying so if you go to Ripley on Europe for that the 3-way combo where you get the 3 different attractions for 2 adults at regular price $59.98 plus tax. So if you pay $40 instead of $59.98, and on top of that you're getting a $75 gift card, it's a net gain. I mean, it's 2 hours of your life you're never going to get back. I agree with you. But it's...
Yeah, exactly. This is the guy that stayed at a show, dude, for what, $30, dude? So,
yeah,
no, I don't say no. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
That's not true.
No,
you didn't stay there for 6 hours.
I didn't. No.
I love it.
You were there longer. I'm sorry.
No. First of all, got there at 9, left at 2:35. That's 5 hours 35 minutes. Secondly.
Furthermore.
Secondly, if they had paid us at 1:30, I mean that's the thing. It doesn't matter. A, we're gonna stay there to get our pay. B, we stay for the second band. And C, when the second band does their first set, we're usually not there. We will listen for the first song, then we go outside and talk. Like that's what we've always done. Every show we've ever done, we stay there and go outside and socialize, talk. Have some drinks, talk with other people, whatever. That's what we do. It's not because we're waiting for our money. That's just why are we just gonna go there, play our set, and then leave right after? We don't do that. We've never done that.
You're right.
So what you're saying is that
if you're acting like it was just because you're acting like we're just there just to get our money, that's not the case at all. We've never, just left as soon as we're the first one up and then just leave. I mean, unless someone really has something they got to go do afterwards or whatever, that's fine. But we don't just play our set and leave. That's never been the case.
So then, what was all the thing about all the anger about?
No, because it's a different way. Like normally when they pay at the door, then as soon as the place closes, like usually 1:45 or whatever, then the door guy is, paying out all the bands, because the bands usually stop at 1:45, or 1:50, maybe 1:55, and then the door guy is paying out. Well, here, because you're getting paid by the bar directly, not based on attendance, but just based on what they already previously agreed, you're waiting for them to close out the registers.
So you're going to tell me you had to wait, you were making a big fuss about an extra 30 minutes?
45 actually, but yeah.
Oh, okay. I get your point now, Chris. Okay, never mind. I was just
45 actually.
I'm being too hard on you. I didn't know that you had to wait an extra 45 minutes for your $30. Never mind.
No, I was talking with Joey Cage here while I was standing there waiting for her. We were talking about stuff, so
So then, what was the issue about?
It's so
they close out the register.
It's that whole place is so different. It's run different. It's managed different. It feels different. Everything. I mean, when this owner fails, and he probably will, When that happens,
Now this guy's gonna be the biggest selling club of all time now, dude.
Oh, you already know, dude.
This guy's gonna hit the watch. What's the name of this club? I'm buying stock in it, dude, for sure now.
Tonic.
Tonic.
Yep.
All right, Mark. Remember that name, and y'all remember this podcast, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Tonic. Chris just monkey paw he gave him the reverse monkey paw, right, Chris? Right, Mark?
The monkey rub, dude.
Yeah.
That's what he gave him.
Had a monkey rub.